than a salon. This place is what I would call a school. It's a school. Because in Bruno's place, we have 3 departments. We have what we call IAS. We have what we call the IAS, Integrated Apprenticeship Experience. Here we emphasize more on the skills, That's the type of work that we do. The fixing, the cutting of hair, the pedicure and the manicure, the nails and all that. We don't really stress much on the skills because anybody that's working in Bruno's place has basic knowledge. But what we emphasize at that level is standard. We want to be a reference point to every other people out there. So that's why we stress more on the standard. Then the second aspect of Bruno's place is we call it the IAX 102, where we get to teach our staff, about the vision, the purpose and the mission, of what Bruno's place stands for. Those days, people used to think that this kind of business for dropouts, is for people who, the less privileged, people who are looked down on. But we decided to turn it around because I find that there's a difference between schooling and education. I feel very happy, feel very excited, being an employer of labor. You know why? Because I was asked to resign and 3 of my colleagues died. But today I'm alive, giving out jobs. Now I have over 100 staff. I'm always looking forward to end of the month because that's when, I get to see the smile on my staff faces when they get to see the alert. The plan is for us to expand because we have a prototype now. Just imagine you have a Bruno's place in 36 states. If with 2 branches we can employ 100 staff, imagine the number of people we're going to employ. The truth is not because we want to make money, because we want to give jobs out. We want to give jobs. It gives me joy, I have the opportunity, to transform lives, and to add value to people.
My name is Musa. I work as a barber in Bruno's place. I started Bruno's place in Abuja 2017. Then I was earning 45 to 50,000 naira. But as for now, I earn more money than what I earned before. So, and I'm really happy working in Bruno's place because it's really transformed my life.
My name is Abisola Shakira. I've been working in Bruno's place for the past 5 years now. And since then, when I was working in Magodo, I wasn't able to school then because I couldn't have enough cash to run myself to school. Then from there, since I got here, I was able to school. I got married. So far so good. Mr. Bruno is a good person.
This is not the regular 9 to 5. This is my life.
first point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
On Plus TV Africa News at this hour, appeal court affirms victory of Bala Mohammed and Samuel Ortam as governors. South African court rejects Zuma's appeal to prevent his prosecution on corruption charges. And on the foreign's intentions, as several got hurt after stabbing on London Bridge. Many thanks for joining us on the news on the hour on Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines. I am Mary Anna Cohn. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday evening departed Umar Musa Yar'Adua International Airport in Katsina State to Daura. The president travelled and was accompanied by some top government officials to his hometown on a 5-day official trip. He arrived Katsina at about 4:42 p.m. and was received by the state governor Aminu Masari and his deputy Maina Yakubu and other members of the State Executive Council, amongst others. President Buhari thereafter headed to Daura at about 5:04 p.m. aboard a helicopter. While in his hometown, the president is expected to attend a groundbreaking ceremony for the takeoff of a University of Transportation, Daura, among other functions. The Appeal Court Just Division on Friday dismissed the appeal filed by the All Progressive Congress in Bauchi State and its governorship candidate, former Governor Mohammed Abubakar, against Bala Mohammed of the People's Democratic Party. The election petition tribunal sitting in Bauchi had, on the 7th of October 2019, dismissed the petition of the APC and its candidate in the election and affirmed the victory of Senator Bala Mohammed as the duly elected governor of Bauchi State. Dissatisfied with the tribunal's judgment, the APC approached the higher court asking that it set aside the lower court's judgment and declare its candidate Abubakar as the duly elected governor. Delivering judgment on Friday, the 5-man panel dismissed all the 4 grounds of the appeal filed by the APC and its defeated candidates in the election. Reading the judgment, Justice O.A. Otisi held that all the grounds of appeal filed before the court by the appellant lacked merit and thereby dismissed them. The appeal court sitting in Abuja has affirmed the election of Governor Samuel Ortam of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) as a duly elected governor of Benue State. The court, while dismissing the appeal filed by Emmanuel Jime of the APC for lack of credible evidence, also awarded a cost of 150,000 naira against the APC council to Governor Ortam. Sebastian sees this judgment as a victory for democracy.
We honestly did not expect anything different, because the appellants called a total of 59 witnesses. Only 31 were polling unit witnesses, and out of the 31, more than half of them disowned their statements and disowned the results, and they were complaining in over 400 polling units. Electoral jurisprudence has said to it that you must call a witness per each polling unit, and they called only 31 who did not go anywhere. So we didn't expect a different result. We commend the Court of Appeal for delivering justice as it ought to be, or as it ought to have been delivered.
Well, for us, this is a judicial affirmation and confirmation of the electoral victory of Governor Samuel Ortam, and we are very, very satisfied with this judgment.
I feel happy and I feel good. This has got to confirm the decision of the people of Benue State, and we're happy and we give glory to God. Well, they should come and join hand with the governor so that we can move the state forward. That is my advice to them. Thank you very much.
The court has done it again. The court has also given another point in time. The court has given hope to the ordinary man. Despite the power that might be, the court is there standing strong for an ordinary person in Nigeria. It has done it again. The court has upheld the mandate that was given to our governor, Samuel Otom. Today, the court has upheld it again. And this is hope for the ordinary person in this country. And we thank the court so much for this. They stood by His Excellency. The court has stood by His Excellency today because it is the mandate of the people, and the court has also affirmed that the mandate of the people cannot be taken away from the people.
Meanwhile, Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau has described his victory at the appeal court as a validation of the will of the people. Lalong, in a statement on Friday by his Director of Press and Public Affairs, Dr. Simon Macham, said the affirmation of his victory is yet another collective victory for the entire people of the state. The governor said that he was not surprised by the court's verdict, as he never doubted the validity of the people's mandate reposed in him by the All Progressive Congress APC. Lalong, however, called on the opposition People's Democratic Party PDP and its candidate, retired General Jeremiah Oseni, to join hands with him in moving the state forward. The Conference of the Civil Societies in Nigeria has tasked the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, to encourage private sector buying in Nigeria's pension scheme. The chairperson of the conference, Adams Otako, spoke to newsmen in Abuja, saying the commission needs to improve on its intelligent efforts so that Nigerians in the private sector can adequately be informed on the benefits of pension. Otako, while calling on the Commission to partner with civil society and create awareness amongst Nigerians, said he's confident that increased enlightenment efforts will reverse the negative effects impacted by a lack of contributory pension of the private sector.
The pension industry had several challenges that impacted negatively on national economy. But since the advent of Mr. President's administration, there's been very considerable reform in the industry that has seen to millions of contributors to the pension industries, and that has come to be a good and significant positive impact on our national economy. The areas, of course, which we had looked into and we feel there ought to be good further responses, we are looking at the areas of public enlightenment. It will be necessary if the Commission steps up public enlightenment efforts so that the private sector, the civil society, pension doesn't have to do with public sector alone. The civil society, the private sector are core beneficiaries of pension schemes because people retire to their old age and livelihood. And if they don't make adequate arrangements for their retirement, they don't have good retirement plans, when they retire to hardship. And that becomes a burden on national development. We are looking at seeing where the civil society can even work more with PENCOM so that they can up and step up their public enlightenment, public awareness campaigns, so that the public, the private sector of the economy can form also an integral part of the scheme.
And moving on, the federal government says its sexual offenders register will help reduce the incidence of rape nationwide. The Director General of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, Julie Oka Donnelly, while speaking to newsmen after the launch of the register in Abuja, said rape has become a menace to society that needs to be checked. Oka Donnelly said the days when sexual offenders get away free from rape over the register are over, and that the register will help Nigerians know the character of people they're recruiting, while others also revealing that there is now a short code toll-free emergency number to help victims of sexual violence report crimes that are perpetrated by rapists.
Generation Equality Stands Against Rape calls for urgent action and accountability for gender equality. The celebration of power of women's rights, activism, and feminist solidarity to achieve transformative change. It is also a call on world leaders to follow through the Beijing Declaration for Women's Rights by highlighting the issues that have been identified as one of the key challenges in the prevention and eradication of rape and sexual harassment, the issue of consent. In addition, A toll-free emergency number and shortcode has been made available to the FCT Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Response Team and the generous support of the Airtel.
You know, a lot of sexual offenders have been raping victims with impunity, and at a point in time it appeared as if nothing was happening to them. If they get good lawyers, they get off the hook. And I personally found it very annoying, and I knew we had to do something about it. Now with the Sexual Offenders Register, we have names. It's a name and shame policy. We have the names of convicted offenders as well as names of offenders who were arrested but not convicted, for the general public to know who they are dealing with. It's very important because you have schools recruiting teachers, you have families recruiting house helps, drivers, and so on and so forth. So you want to be sure that you're not recruiting a rapist or a pedophile. So I think it's so significant and very important for Nigeria and Nigerians generally.
What you've seen today, all the stakeholders are here to support the government in seeing that this menace is checked in the society, in our society. We will also go on advocacy, which we have started already as a government in Nasarawa State, to see that those that are committing these crimes are being reported.
Getting to this stage was not easy at all, and we know that the implementation may be even tougher afterwards, but truly this is a real milestone that we see here today. Now it's for everybody to come together. It's for governors and the federal government to give this top priority, to put funding behind this initiative so it becomes sustainable. It's of course for the justice delivery system to play their role and their part, because it is only when there's no impunity, it's only when offenders are genuinely convicted that the register will fully function.
The combined troops of Sector 3 Operation Lafayette Doli and Sector 2 Multinational Joint Task Force of Chadian forces have killed 13 terrorists on Thursday at Duguri Island in the extreme northern Borno. The Nigerian Army Operations Media Coordinator Colonel Aminu Iliasu disclosed this in a statement on Friday in Abuja. Iliasu said that the terrorists of Boko Haram and Islamic State of West Africa province ISWAP mounted 4 gun trucks with the intention of overrunning the troops' harbor position from the rear. He added that the troops also captured the guns, 3 gun trucks and 3 anti-craft guns, 12 AK-47 rifles and 3 bandoliers of anti-aircraft guns and 270 rounds of 7.62 mm special ammunition, among other critical assets. According to him, the 4 members of the troop were wounded during the encounter, and 2 of the wounded soldiers have already stabilized in a nearby military medical facility, while other 2 are awaiting evacuation for further medical management. Google this week hosted its first Google Startup Week in Lagos, which saw Google Launchpad Accelerator Africa graduates from across Africa pitch for funding for some of Africa and UK's top venture capitalists and Launchpad Accelerator Africa Class 4 graduating from the program. Our correspondent Messi Manuel reports.
Google for Startups UK Africa, in partnership with Launchpad Accelerator Africa, graduated at Class 4 in Lagos at the first ever Google Startup Week in Nigeria. This comprised 12 startups from 6 Africa countries: Nigeria, South Africa, Kenya, Ghana, Zimbabwe, and Uganda. Google Launchpad Accelerator Africa focuses on working with startups that are setting out to tackle some of Africa's biggest challenges.
Google is a company that is large and successful enough that it really makes sense for Google to take long-term bets. It really makes sense for Google to say, okay, I don't need to push for this company to be doing XYZ in month 3. I can wait for this company to become really big and really successful 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, and I can actually support the entrepreneurs, because after all, it's always about the people.
This is one of our efforts to really help to build the digital capacity and development across Africa. As some of you may know, we're investing in other programs to just raise the digital game, from digital skills training to providing in-depth training for developers, an Africa Scholarships program, and things like that. And we believe very much in the talents that exists on the continent, and it's our hope that the next billion-dollar business would come out of Africa.
The Class 4 startups have collectively raised $4.3 million, created over 300 jobs, and signed up over 110 users. The trainees also talk about their experiences in the course of the program.
We've grown as a business. We came with a suite of products, and we've streamlined to the couple that allow us serve this market via multiple channels. We've also gotten some insights with our technology, machine learning, Google Cloud. We've been overwhelmed.
It's a very, very exciting time for us right now, and we are excited. And the excitement is fueled even further by the amazing Google Launchpad program, which from the past 3 months has allowed us to be in a position to introduce that at the end of January, we'll be introducing 2 new exciting insights products to the market, which will be uncovering insights which we feel have never been seen before in the African continent.
When we came in, we had all these ways that we could monetize our products, and they helped us to focus on providing market research and credit scoring capacity. That's the first thing. The second thing was they actually gave us the kind of confidence that we needed to believe that we could actually go out and just make it happen. I hadn't pushed on that possibility, but after Launchpad, we now have 5 of those partners.
Google is doing this because we believe that a rising tide will lift every boat. And what that simply means is that when startups are successful, Google also becomes successful. It's not charity, it's not CSR, it's a strategic business move to make as many businesses in Africa successful.
Google for Startups having put up its weight behind supporting the continent's emerging entrepreneurs. It is expected they will continue to build great products and by extension tackle key social issues. Mercy Emmanuel for Plus TV.
South African court rejects Zuma's appeal to prevent his prosecution on corruption charges. This and more when we return. A South African court on Friday rejected an appeal by former President Jacob Zuma sought to prevent his prosecution on corruption charges over $2 billion arms deal. The ruling paves way for Zuma, whose long-awaited trial will start in February of 2020. Zuma, in office from 2009 to 2018, had previously applied for a permanent stay of prosecution on 18 charges of fraud, racketeering and money laundering relating to an arms deal with French defense firm Thales in 1990. A Sudan Prime Minister, Abdallah Hamdok, has been elected chairperson of the regional political bloc, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, IGAD. IGAD heads of state and government representatives met for the 13th Ordinary Summit in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa, where Hamdok was elected leader. He takes over from Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who has been in that role since 2018 when he came into office. Among the leaders that joined the meeting were Uganda's Yoweri Museveni, South Sudan's Salva Kiir, Somalia's Mohamed Abdallah Farmajo, and Djibouti's Omar Guelleh. On September 3, doctors in Zimbabwe went on strike to protest against poor wages, in some cases less than $100 a month. The president of Emerson Mnangagwa's government, which responded to the job boycott by firing 448 doctors and pursuing disciplinary action against more than 1,000 others, on Thursday offered to reinstate them if they return to work within 48 hours. Zimbabwe is experiencing worst economic crisis in a decade since that has seen resurgent inflation soaring to 3-digit levels, eroding salaries and bringing back bitter memories of hyperinflation era of a decade ago. On Thursday, Barirentyatwa Hospital, the country's biggest, was deserted, with only a handful of desperate patients being attended to by nurses. Up next is our foreign news. British police on Friday shot dead a man who had strapped a fake bomb to his body and stabbed a number of people in what they said it was a terrorism incident in London Bridge area of the capital. Police say they had been alerted at just before 2 p.m. to a stabbing at a premises near London Bridge, a scene of a deadly attack by Islamist militants 2 years ago. The United Kingdom's top counter-terrorism officer Neil Basu told reporters that a male suspect was shot by specialist armed officers from the city's London police and died at the scene. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said on Friday it would be the best if US President Donald Trump does not get involved in Britain's election when he visits London for a NATO summit next week. Trump waded into the election in October by saying opposition Labour Party Jeremy Corbyn would be so bad for Britain, but that Boris Johnson should agree to a pact with Brexit Party leader Nigel Farage. But senior Conservatives are nervous that Trump could upset the campaign when in London, just over a week before December 12 elections, which polls indicate that Johnson is on course to win. Up next, the African Development Bank approves $210 million financing package for the Nigeria Transmission Expansion Project. And that is our business news right after this break. The Board of Directors of the African Development Bank have approved a $210 million financing package for Nigeria Transmission Expansion Project, NTEP-1. The bank, in a statement issued on Friday, said the package sought to rehabilitate and upgrade the nation's power lines and improve distribution and supply. According to the AFDB, the projects, which will run across Kano, Kaduna, Delta, Edo, Anambra, Imo and Abia, will improve the capacity and reliability of the Nigerian transmission grid where it's most constrained. And NTEP-1 is part of the post-$6 billion transmission rehabilitation and expansion program. The statement quoted Ebrima Fowl, AFDB Senior Director for Nigeria, as saying the project would reduce Nigeria's power deficit. And oil prices dipped on Friday in muted activity because of the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday, while OPEC watchers expect an extension to a pact to throttle oil output beyond March, but no deeper course to be decided by the producer group and its allies. Brent crude futures LC01 were low 39 cents and 63 points for $8 a barrel by 13:03 GMT, heading for the biggest monthly gain since April, with a rise of about 5.4%. West Texas Intermediate futures CLCL were down 4 cents at $58.7, tracing back to earlier losses and on course for a fourth consecutive week increase. On a monthly basis, WTI is poised for a jump of about 7.1%, which is its highest since June. And still on Plus TV Africa News is our roundup on entertainment and sport. We will be back in a moment.
Welcome to The Advocate. Another week, but certainly not just another program. This one comes with plenty of sauce.
It's a tool they want to use to control what people say because they're not performing.
Take for example, if you're a girl now, and I, of course, a man, as a girl, would go for an interview. The first question would be, Madam, hope you won't get pregnant very soon.
You were doing
the right thing. You're not a panel to investigate you. No, it's not me. You were one of them.
Think of good schools, hospitals, infrastructure improvement. Think of the people and the nation first. Get paid less. It's as easy as ABC.
I can't argue with any of that, Liboris, actually, so I'm just going to leave it there.
I think this is perhaps the advocacy that I'm spiritually, psychologically attuned with.
Yeah.
I personally think a lot of Nigerians see themselves as entrepreneurs. There's so much we don't have. You see that there's a large market, so I think that drives people to want to start a business. It means to start looking at each individual Nigerian, an uncle, an aunt, a friend, your son, your boyfriend. When they come to you with incomplete stories, challenge it. When your son who just finished graduating school comes home with a new Mercedes-Benz and you clap for him instead of questioning where he got it from, that is corruption. When your dad, all of a sudden, who works in the Ministry of XYZ or is just a second level at his private sector job, now is buying a house in London, question it. You can't solve corruption when it goes down like water going down a hill. It's not possible. People who have good stories to tell tend to stay very quiet, and I don't know why.
Premiering this Monday at 12:30 p.m. and repeat broadcast at 8:30 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
That money will shoot every person that we know can shoot. We don't let people die there.
You could have killed me for a long period of time.
Is that time why I carry gonorrhea? I first go hospital first, but it no go. Now I come make that mama.
He just pulled it, he pointed and shot.
What is the soul of a man?
They suffer too much. They suffer too much.
Issues around the Nigerian police, we have to tackle it holistically.
British rapper Stumsy will release his eagerly anticipated sophomore album Heavy Is the Head in a few weeks. The rapper recently made the news when he dropped a song titled Own It with Burna Boy and Ed Sheeran. He is also set to commence a world tour tagged Heavy Is the Head World Tour in 2020. His tour starts in Europe, Belgium, in March 2020, and then from there he would tour Asia and New Zealand, North America, the UK and then Africa. As part of the Africa tour, he will visit Cape Town, Johannesburg, South Africa, Accra, Ghana and Lagos, Nigeria. Well, that's it on entertainment. The very best in sports is coming up right after this. Barcelona winger Ousmane Dembele is expected to be out for about 10 weeks with a thigh injury sustained in Wednesday's Champions League match against Borussia Dortmund. The 22-year-old France international will miss a host of matches, including the rearranged La Liga game against Real Madrid on December 18. Tests have confirmed that Dembele has a muscle injury in his right thigh. Dembele has suffered several injuries since arriving from Dortmund in 2017. After also spending time out with a thigh injury at the start of the season, he's also played 3 full games for the La Liga champions this season. Well, that's it for sports, and that's also a news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter and on Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We'll be back later with more stories making headlines. Do join us then, and do have a great day.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
I actually moved back to Nigeria to open a bakery. This was my goal.
And everything I did up till this point was in preparation for this. First of all, life was great because I moved in 2015 right before the recession, right? It was awesome. I was like, wow, there's so much money out here, man. The cost of overheads, power generation, water, you have to be your own local government. And there are no tax breaks. Many places where, where they realize the small business environment is difficult would offer some kind of tax breaks and incentives. We don't do that out here. We want you to come back. We want you to, to start businesses here, but we're not going to do anything to help you. All my experiences in the past have led me ultimately to where I am now.
Many thanks for joining us on the show today, and this is Plus Odds on Plus TV Africa. This show is what offers you the best of analysis on selected games from the wide world of sports. We are the experts, and as always, we help you make the wisest choices when it comes to punting. And I've got expert Aziz right here, and I've also got expert Perry on the show today, and of course, the guys are raring to go. Welcome to the show.
Always a pleasure. When you have that opportunity to give the fans a way of making money, you just have to be present and ever ready to do justice to what you have to do.
Very true. Expert Perry, yesterday someone won 42,000 naira somewhere around the office, and the person has refused to pay his tithe. What do we do in that kind of situation?
The tithe must be paid by force.
You give unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
Yeah,
if not,
course.
The bet sites will surely take it back. Well, on the show, we will be breezing through the games lined up, but we will as well look at the selections from last week's events. But before then, let's pay some bills, and we'll be right back to continue with the show.
Hello friend, we've been here stressing all day, but we still lost. How did you do it?
Come on bro, show us the way now. Haven't you guys heard of Bet Ensured? A site that does all your games forecast for you from any league in the world and sends the sure games. Then you just play and win.
Wow!
Bet Ensured, accurate prediction, guaranteed profit.
Welcome back to the show. You can watch us on Star Times channel 308 and of course channel 528, and you can as well catch us online at www.plustvafrica.com, and our social media handles are on Instagram and on Twitter at PlusTVAfrica, and our YouTube channel is youtube.com/PlusTVAfrica. Do subscribe to our channel. And for last week's selections, Expert Perry will take us through and let us know how those games went and if it was 100% or not.
Yeah, last week event, we almost got 100% in those recommendations. From about 8 recommendations from the 3 matches, we got 7 correctly. The first one there was Manchester City versus Chelsea, when the two teams fought for the 3rd position. The game ended in favor of Manchester City when they won 2-1 in the first half, and that actually concluded the match. We left them 9 points behind the league leaders, Liverpool. Our 3 recommendations there were BTS, both teams to score. That happened, and over 0.5 in the halftime, and also over 2.5 at 1.45 odds. The 3 recommendations there were 100%, so we got that correctly. The next one is Torino versus Inter Milan. That match ended in favor of Inter Milan. Inter Milan has won 7 matches now. 7 away matches on the streak. So they are good. They are good to go. Romelu Lukaku and Martinez are well connected in that match. And even last night, they did wonderfully well playing against Benfica Lisbon. So in that match, they played 0-3. Our recommendation for Inter Milan to win in that half came true. But we predicted that most goals will be scored in the second half of the match, and that didn't happen. Most goals were scored in the first half. They scored 2 goals, and then a later goal in the second half. The next one there was Sion versus Young Boys. That match was a scoring festival. The match ended 3-4 in favor of Young Boys, and our prediction for over 2.5 and Young Boys to win came true in that one too. So we got a good. It was a good. It
was just the game?
Yes, it was just the second highest scoring of that.
You know, when I saw the second high goal scoring half, I was skeptical because it was at 2 odds, and I felt like this would be quite difficult. But I'm sure if another person had seen that, they might have taken it off their ticket and played the other games. And if you did play those games, I'm sure you'd have gotten some money from there. Well, thank you, Expert Perry. We definitely know that the experts do a hard job in getting these games across to us. And this show is powered by Bet Insured. And every day, passionate sports fans worldwide seek websites and other platforms that offer accurate predictions and profits. And there are various web-based sports books that allow punters from different locations, but Bet Insured is that platform you need. And Bet Insured helps you carefully analyze the sports events so as to make sure that the result predicted will be as accurate as possible. Now let's go straight to this week's selections and the available markets that we have for you. Now, 3 games have been selected for this week, and they are all football events from different parts of Europe. In the English Premier League, there's the game between Tottenham Hotspur and Bournemouth, and Jose Mourinho is the new Spurs manager, and he'll be looking to pick his 3rd consecutive win for the Spurs. In the Bundesliga, we've got the game between Paderborn and Leipzig, and finally in the Ligue 1, Monaco will battle Paris Saint-Germain. First up, we'll look at the game between Tottenham Hotspur and Bournemouth, and Expert Aziz will handle that for us. And of course, he might just run through the other games, but let's start off with Tottenham Hotspur versus Bournemouth.
Mr. Luka, one thing is certain here, this is more like a mini derby between these 2 teams. Spurs is based in London, West Ham is also based in London, so we have a form of mini derby on our hands. Spurs, for me, I think they have a mini revival on their hands. They are a bit reborn after 2 games under the special one, Jose Mourinho. Just 2 days ago, we saw them going down by 2-0 at halftime against Olympiacos. But then the Jose Mourinho juggernaut came back into play, and Spurs ended up winning that game by 4-2. So it goes to show that under Jose Mourinho, I for one believe that with Mourinho on board, Spurs will become the team we used to know them to be. Against West Ham, it will be a difficult game, no doubt. Against Bournemouth, it will be a difficult game, no doubt. But then with Spurs playing at home, and with the Mourinho factor, coupled with the fact that a lot of the Spurs players are looking forward to proving a point. I don't forget Harry Kane is in form currently. He's been scoring goals, reckless abandon, scoring about 5 goals in the last 3 games. So it goes to show that Spurs should be able to nick this one, and with that, we expect Spurs to coast to victory against Bournemouth.
All right, and that one, there's just one market available for them from the experts. They have picked Tottenham Hotspur to get a straight victory in down. I'm also looking forward to that game. Bournemouth against Tottenham Hotspur. Jose Mourinho seeking his 3rd victory in that encounter. And moving over to the other game, Paderborn versus Leipzig, and that's in the German Bundesliga.
Just last weekend, we saw Paderborn, the bottom placed team in the Bundesliga. They went all the way to Signal Iduna Park to face Borussia Dortmund. Of course, when you talk about the Bundesliga, you have to mention Borussia Dortmund because they are one of the powerhouses in German football. But then Paderborn defied all odds to go to the Signal Iduna Park. They didn't let their guards down. In fact, they forced a 3-3 draw. In fact, they were actually leading that game by 3-0 against Dortmund away from home before Dortmund rallied back to get back on level 10 by 3-3. So against RB Leipzig, who just last night forced a 2-2 draw on their own against Benfica. We expect goals in this one, but of course you know that RB Leipzig, they have a lofty ambition of their own. They want to win the league or possibly qualify for Europe. And against the league's bottom side, we expect that the team who has been scoring goals left, right, and center with Timo Werner getting the goals for them against the likes of Yusuf person should also chip in with one in this. We expect RB Leipzig to go to Paderborn and get a resounding victory. I'm expecting a whitewash in this game.
Wow, a whitewash for Leipzig, and the odd for that one, talking about a straight victory. For Leipzig, it goes at 1.40 to get a straight victory in that game against Paderborn. So looking forward to that one. Tottenham Hotspur, a straight victory against Bournemouth. And of course, Paderborn against Leipzig, a straight victory for Leipzig. And that's it on your screen. 2 to win. That's Leipzig to win, 1.40. Now the last one is in the French Ligue 1, and it's between Monaco and Paris Saint-Germain. Way back, would have said this would be a decider. Exactly. But now Monaco isn't that team that we used to know when we had the likes of Mbappe. And I'm trying to remember the guy who moved over to Atletico Madrid.
And the likes of Radamel Falcao, Fabinho, and a whole lot of others.
And others that moved away from the club.
You look at AS Monaco, more like fallen giants now. They are more like a shadow of their former self. But then against a team like PSG, these are games that you always look out for when the fixtures are rolled out at the beginning of the season. They will look at this PSG fixture and see, let us rub shoulders with these guys. We know they are better than us, but then these are games that tend to motivate players of the opposition team, especially when they face the biggest and the best team in French football. For me, at their home ground, yes, Monaco has been scoring for fun this season, although the same thing cannot be said for their defense, because they have actually been porous at the back. They scored 16 goals at home, conceded 13. It goes to show that they are a very poor team defensively, but on the attack, they are a team to reckon with. After scoring 16 goals in 7 games at home, they've played 7 games at home. They've won 4, drawn 1, lost twice. Albeit against bottom place teams. So you expect that PSG, with Neymar back in action, Edison Cavani is also back in the team, although maybe may have not been getting the minutes we expect him to have. But then Mario Icardi is getting the goals for them, and with Kylian Mbappe also coming back to form with goals in his last 2 games for PSG. We expect PSG to go to AS Monaco and get a victory. And with both of these teams knowing how to score goals, PSG, of course, has scored in all their away games this season, and Monaco on home soil, they know how to score goals. Even if they are going to lose the game, they surely know how to score goals. We expect both of them to score in this one and at least get more than 2.5 goals.
All right, over 2.5 goals goes at 1.40 odds, and for straight victory for Paris Saint-Germain, it goes at 1.55 odds. That's for PSG to win that encounter. Let me run through the games again. Tottenham Hotspur against Bournemouth. That game goes for Tottenham Hotspur to get a straight victory, and it goes at 1.40. And the second game is Paderborn against RB Leipzig, and it's for Paderborn to lose that game to Leipzig. That's our away team to win, and it goes at 1.40. And Monaco against the Paris Saint-Germain. Goes for Paris Saint-Germain to win, it goes at 1.55, and over 2.5 goes at 1.40. But remember that this show is powered by Bet Ensured, and we've got the special Black Friday on the platform where you get to enjoy the very best of benefits and of course giveaways on Bet Ensured's Black Friday offer. Expert Perry has more information on that Black Friday for us.
Yes, the Bet Ensured Black Friday is tagged the Big Black Friday, and it's starting on the 29th of November, and it's tomorrow, and it's spanned to the 1st of December. So the Black Friday depicts what Black Friday usually is, discount, and discount. And this year, Bet Ensured brought together the 3 of the most expensive plan to our customers, our clients, and our prospective clients to actually gain a lot with less. So we are bringing together a business plan, one of our business plan. We are bringing together our expert advisor. So if you subscribe with Bet Ensured on this Black Friday, you are going to get 1 more expert advisor. Okay. The expert advisor gives you access to talk to our topmost experts, giving you tips and recommendations and guidance on how to play bet. And you also get the premium plan. The premium plan will also last you for 1 month when you subscribe on this Black Friday. And you have access to various categories on the website, the over 2.5 categories, the BTS categories, the win categories, and so many more. And you also get 3 odds and 5 odds email sent to you, and also you also receive that as SMS too on a daily basis for a period of 1 month. The last plan that you also get is the Tip Genius plan. The Tip Genius plan is actually our most expensive plan, and with almost 100% accuracy. So you get that for 15 days when you subscribe on this Black Friday, and the odds that you get on this Tip Genius is between 1.65 and 2.15 odds. So you can imagine how accurate that will be. Then our discount on this 3-in-1 plan, the Super Platinum plan, is up to 60%.
Wow.
It's up to, so you are almost getting it for free. Those are our most expensive plan. And aside from the discount, you also get up to $5 betting credit in your betting wallet. So depending on your country, if you are in Nigeria, you get it in Naira. If you are in the US or anywhere, you get it in dollars. So those are what you get for the Black Friday.
Now, when it comes to, you talked about betting wallets. Is there a special wallet created by Bet Insured, or it has to do with the bet platform that you place your bets?
Yes, the bookmaker, the bet platform that you use.
Oh, okay. And again, for us to go to the website, is there like, what's it called now? Because I usually see most of the games on the page where you have the tips of the day, and when you try to look for the over 2.5 or first half wins, you're told to register. Now, how do you keep tabs of people who
subscribed for the...
Exactly.
Immediately you subscribe for it, you will be upgraded your account. Once if you are a new customer, you have to register first. Then once you subscribe for the Platinum plan, that's the special package for the Black Friday. You will be upgraded for 1 month premium, 15 days Tip Genius, and 1 month expert advisor. So that's how you keep tab of that.
Okay, that's where you've got that. Talking about the Bet Insured, the Black Friday. Aziz, do you feel like adding 1 or 2 things to that?
I think certainly when you look at that Platinum plan, for me, I was talking to Perry before we came on board. I was looking at it that for prospective clients and customers, that's one of the best options they can get. I personally want to subscribe to that, because with that you can always have odds of 1.60 to 2.15. I mean, that's a very fat odd. If you are not the type that is covetous, that's something that you can really look forward to make some cool cash.
Of course, I'm making some cool cash. And there's something called building your games, because every day I know some guys who actually build their games on 2 odds per day, and they put some money on it. Whatever money they get to win, they place it on the next game for the next day. So Bet Insured is the right platform for you to run to and get these accurate predictions, and of course get some money in your pocket. Well, let's take another break, and when we come back, we'll look at something called the Bet Insured affiliate program. I've still got the experts here. When we come back, we'll be dealing with that.
Hello friend, we've been here stressing all day, but we still lost. How did you do it?
Come on bro, show us the way now. Haven't you guys heard of Bet Insured? A site that does all your games forecast for you from any league in the world and sends the sure games. Then you just play and win.
Wow!
Bet Insured, accurate prediction, guaranteed profit.
Welcome back to the show. It's still Plus Odds on Plus TV Africa. This is the show that gives the very best when it comes to accurate predictions and, of course, getting value for your money. And, of course, it's sponsored by Bet Insured. And we've got the experts here, Expert Aziz and Expert Perry. They'll be smiling to the bank this weekend. They just might be winning $1 million or more this weekend when they get to play games. So make sure you follow their games, and you also can be smiling to the bank with millions of money in your pockets. I hope that I'll I'll be a part of that million train.
Of course.
That smile isn't confirmed.
If you join Bet and Short, you'll be a part of it.
Oh, follow. Okay. See, follow the expert and you get to win so much money. Of course, let's go straight to the affiliate program. Of course, our expert expert Perry will still put us through on that.
Yeah, the affiliate program is a program that is an avenue that Bet and Short has created for people who would like to do business with us.
Okay.
Not necessarily people who bet. It can be people who just want to add another stream of income to what they are earning. And the only thing you need to do is just to sell Bet and Short plan. Sell Bet and Short plan, and you get up to 50% commission on each of the plans that you sell. So that is that. And it's not that we are just pushing you to do it. We're giving you backup. We have excellent marketing support ready for you, and also you'll be assigned to a manager to guide you and put you through how you are going to go about it. So Bet and Short has reach. We have reach, and we have 5 physical offices in African countries: Ghana, Tanzania, Kenya, and like 2 other, and also in Nigeria. Of course. So we have the reach and we have the trust of our clients. We only need to reach out more. So what you need to do is just reach out more, sell our plans to people, and get up to 50% discount. As simple as that.
Wow, that's what it is. And of course, getting 50% discount on you selling Bet and Short plans. I'm sure you'd want to do that. I would also want to key into that as well, to sell more of Bet and Short, because I've actually benefited from their website. And of course, on the show, right here on the show Plus Odds, we drop some of those games and you get to win so much money. So why not run down to the website www.betandshort.com and register and follow due process. Of course, you sure might be cashing out with so much money. As we go, let me just bring this. I like to gossip a whole lot. I like to gossip. So there are rumors that has it that David Moyes might just be the next manager at Arsenal.
David who?
Yeah, David Moyes. How would you? That's exactly how I reacted when I saw that.
I saw it on BBC earlier today, and I was like, wow. I don't think there is any difference between Unai Emery. Even if you ask me, I would want to believe Unai Emery is a better version of David Moyes. No disrespect to David Moyes in any way, but then for me, if that's the only choice left for us now, I would rather they stick with Unai Emery.
They should hold on to Unai Emery. And there's also rumors, Perry, there's also rumors, that, not rumors now, one of the candidates, David Moyes was a rumor, but now one of the top candidates to take over from Unai Emery if he gets fired. We have Rafa Benitez is not even there. There's a Brendan Rodgers. There's Mikel Arteta. And the Arsenal fans seem to want Mikel Arteta.
I think we can even rule out Brendan Rodgers. I'm not too sure he will leave his project at Leicester City, who they are on the hub, they are on the ascendancy now, and come to take a project at Arsenal. Of course, no disrespect to Arsenal, but I think Leicester City, they're on the right path, and they might even make the Champions League as things stands. With Arsenal, I'm not too sure he would want to take that risk.
So you think Leicester City is a bigger club compared to Arsenal?
I'm not saying they're a bigger team than Arsenal. No disrespect to Arsenal. Arsenal are one of the biggest teams in world football, not only in England. But then I think they need a coach that knows the DNA of Arsenal, that knows the in and out of Arsenal, the backroom staff, the old players, and all. And this is where I believe Mikel Arteta fits the bill. He has learned the rules under Pep Guardiola. He's a former Arsenal player who knows the whole Arsenal DNA, their style of play, and how they like to play their football. And he knows how the board operates also. So I felt he would do a better job than a certain Brendan Rodgers, who for me is a good manager. But then as far as the Arsenal job is concerned, I think Mikel Arteta should be a better fit.
Perry, you agree?
I'll go with Aziz on that one.
Arteta to coach Arsenal.
Yes. Because I don't see any better coach that can come on board. There are better coaches, but they don't want to leave their
Rafa
job right
Benitez,
now.
There's Massimiliano Allegri, there's Thierry Henry. If you talk about knowing the club's philosophy, Thierry Henry played longer in Arsenal than Mikel Arteta, and he had
on the list.
No, I think one thing we have to understand here is that is Arsenal ready to win titles, or they still want to stick to their style of play?
Titles.
Now, if you want to win titles, then look no further than a certain Massimiliano Allegri. Rafa Benitez is also there who will guarantee you titles Of course, you don't know this as Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Liverpool, and a whole lot of others. And the same can be said for Massimiliano Allegri, who won titles for Juventus. But then, if you are talking about style of play, that beautiful football that we always see on the screens and we're happy and all of that, I think Mikel Arteta is a better fit.
The Arsenal fans are surely not happy with what they're saying at the moment, and they surely want to win titles. So, which of these managers will be the best fit if Unai Emery is let go of? That is, if they get to lose the game tonight against Frankfurt, or if they don't get a good performance against Frankfurt, and of course, if results don't go their way this weekend in the English Premier League, it just might be goodbye to that man who loves to say good evening. And instead of having the V, he puts the B there. Good evening. Well, all good for Unai Emery. Once again, running through the games, Tottenham Hotspur versus Bournemouth. A straight win for Tottenham Hotspur. It goes at 1.40. And Paderborn against Leipzig. Straight win for Leipzig. It goes at 1.40. And Monaco against Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain to win that one. It goes at 1.55. And of course, over 2.5 goals to be scored in that encounter. It goes at 1.40.
I think for punters that want higher odds, I would recommend Leipzig to win that game and both teams to score.
Oh, okay.
Or to even score both halves.
Wow, to score both halves. Okay, that's another option that you can actually pick. But then that's where we draw the curtain on today's show. Thank you very much, guys, for making it down to the studio.
Always a pleasure, as always.
All right, looking forward to the Black Friday from Bet Ensured, and make sure that you key into that. I'm sure you have a lot of profit to make on that one. Well, champions aren't made at the gyms. Champions are made from something that they have deep inside of them, a desire, a dream, and a vision. What is your vision? The year is almost running out. I hope you've achieved everything that you wanted to achieve this year. If not, you still have time to achieve that before the year runs out. I am Udoka Njoku. Thank you for watching. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
I personally think a lot of Nigerians see themselves as entrepreneurs. There's so much we don't have. You see that there's a large market. So I think that drives people to want to start a business. We need to start looking at each individual Nigerian, an uncle, an aunt, a friend, your son, your boyfriend. When they come to you with incomplete stories, challenge it. When your son, who just finished graduating school, comes home with a new Mercedes-Benz and you clap for him instead of questioning where he got it from, that is corruption. When your dad, all of a sudden, who works at the Ministry of XYZ or is just a second level at his private sector job, now is buying a house in London, question it. You can't solve corruption when it goes down like water going down a hill. It's not possible. People who have good stories to tell tend to stay very quiet, and I don't know why.
Premiering this Monday at 12:30 p.m. and repeat broadcast at 8:30 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now. Wow. And that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
I can still make music and people are still buying.
Sometimes I look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
Sleeping early.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshuke.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Right, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity.
No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years. 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where? The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let anybody come and say!
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Na 2,500 they pay.
country people, we dey thank una one that joined us on top News on the Hour for Plus TV Africa.
This na number 63 Massey Street for Itafaji, where building just collapsed by 10 a.m. this morning.
They say the Oga of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, don't tell federal government say if they provoke him, it go cause wahala for inside the country.
Because if the British citizen no be say you go enter Nigeria, come cause kasala, run go Britain, go stay in peace.
Them say na the diesel truck catch fire as they try offload the diesel way dey inside. Come out, fire department come try quench the fire.
For the first time for Nigeria, every will enjoy television news for Ogbonge Pidgin English.
For more tori, make una kukuma follow us at Plus TV Africa on top Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Make una subscribe to our YouTube page and for Star Times on channel 308.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am booking November.
Thanks for joining us on News on the Hour Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines. I am Amaka Okoye. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday in Malabo said leaders of neighboring countries would work together and provide all necessary assistance to secure the Gulf of Guinea. The president's spokesman, Malam Garba Shehu, said this in a statement that Buhari gave the assurance at a bilateral meeting with President Teodoro Obiang Ugume Mbasogo of Equatorial Guinea on the sideline of the 2019 gas summit. Buhari expressed concern over the rate of piracy, kidnapping and smuggling in the Gulf of Guinea and called for more concerted efforts to end the tide of illegality. Still, President Muhammadu Buhari will on Monday perform the groundbreaking ceremony of the University of Transportation, Daura, and commissioning the Kwanargwante Road, which is off Kano Daura Road in Katsina State. Malam Garba Shehu, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, confirmed this development in a statement in Abuja on Friday. He stated that the President had arrived in Daura, Katsina State after attending the 5th summit of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. According to him, President Buhari arrived at Umar Musa Yar'Adua International Airport at 4:20 p.m. local time and was received by Governor Aminu Masari. Still on national matters, the First Lady Hajia Aisha Buhari has alerted that things are getting out of hand in the country, noting that her husband alone cannot handle the challenges of the nation and admonished the political class to work together to build the country out of the challenges. She spoke yesterday at the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs General Assembly and National Executive Council meeting at the National Mosque in Abuja with the theme Islam and National Development. Mrs. Buhari was quoted as saying, "We should either fasten our seatbelts and do the needful, or we will all regret it very soon, because at the rate things are going, things are getting completely out of hand. People cannot afford potable water in this country while we have governors. Since this is the highest decision-making body of the Islamic affairs, for those that are listening, we should fear God. And we should know that one day we will return to God and account for our deeds here on earth." End of quote. She also called for the regulation of social media, noting that China, with about 1.3 billion people, had done so, stressing that many people could not visit their villages on account of fake news broadcasts. In his opening remarks, the NSCIA President General and the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, said the nation must come together to address its challenges, insisting that the girl child education and the Al-Majiri phenomenon must be addressed urgently. Now, Nigeria has succeeded in securing variation of the UK court order from cash payment of $200 million security to issuing bank guarantee of the same amount in respect of the P&ID scam. Abubakar Malami, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, made this known in a statement issued by Dr. Umar Gwandu, the Special Assistant on Media and Public Relations of the Office of the Minister in Abuja on Thursday. The minister said the federal government appealed against the payment of $200 million security component, which was a condition for stay of execution of the judgment. The court granted the federal government's request for variation of terms of the order, seeking to provide bank guarantee in place of direct deposit. He said the success recorded so far in relation to the $200 million security deposit is that it remained in the federal government's custody while simply providing a document. Moving on, the Senate is calling for an immediate review of Nigeria's housing policy and mortgage financing such that Nigerians can have affordable housing nationwide. The motion, which was moved by Senator Albert Akpan, indicated the housing sector can also be used to provide available jobs for Nigerians because of its labor-intensive capability.
This Senate alarmed that the National Housing Policy projections of government by 2020 provides for a minimum of 17.5 million housing schemes in the country to cater for the projected population growth of 200 million Nigerians. This vision is practically unattainable. This Senate concerns that the national housing caters for only the housing needs of the working class contributors, whereas 80% of the active population of Nigeria remains unemployed. This Senate worried that the disposable loan limit through the funds was reviewed from 5 million to 10 million naira and 15 million 25 years ago, and has remained so till date, despite drastic economic changes over the years. And this Senate further worried that there exists little or no impact of the National Social Housing Development Program in the country over the years, and owing to the escalating population growth in our country, there is a dire and urgent need for a total review of our national housing policy framework to meet the needs of our people, especially the poorest Nigerians, in line with the various international conventions and treaties of which Nigeria is a signatory.
It's important for us to really review the policy of housing and also mortgage financing, not just because it provides to provide houses for people, but because the housing construction sector is a job creation industry. Because it is labor intensive, it provides a lot of jobs for the people.
If we look at Abuja, the houses in Abuja are more than the people living in Abuja. 3/4 of the houses are empty. Yet, the policy is still on.
And to health matters now, the Nigerian Senate is bothered about the inadequate commitment of the federal government to the funding for the prevention and treatment of persons living with HIV. The Senate, via a motion raised by Senator Chukwuka Utazi, said Nigeria's HIV prevalence rate has dropped in the last few years, despite a reduction of funding for the prevention and treatment of HIV from development partners. Senator Utazi said there is a need for the federal government to seize the initiative and support persons living with HIV while improving support for the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, to help prevent the spread of the ailment.
This Senate satisfied that NICE reports showed that HIV prevalence in the country dropped from 2.8% to 1.4% amongst adults aged 15 to 49 years, a feat which Nigeria is presently well applauded, and with a population of 1.9 million people living with HIV in Nigeria, over 1 million of the above figure are currently assessing treatment to achieve viral suppression. This Senate concerned that with the appreciable control of this epidemic and the increasing expectation of further shrinking, is the naked truth that the usual funding from foreign donors will equally shrink, leaving Nigeria to battle 37/37 in funding the management and care of people living with HIV, and therefore necessitates putting in place mechanisms to ensure that resources are available for continuity.
But I want to advise too that, at this time, when the news broke in those days, government found it very difficult because the drugs were very expensive. Now, a lot of these drugs have been subsidized. NACA that came on board in Nigeria, a lot of, international donors came, USAID, WHO, UNICEF, all of them made contributions to Nigeria. And the government at that time too was very serious because the disease was ravaging our populace. So I still believe that governments too must still, continually fund it so that we don't have a relapse of the disease, so that our people don't get infected. We have had different demographics, just like he said, in this country. The northern part of this country, the south, in fact, even states where we have found out that the prevalence rate has been very high. I think we don't want to mention those ones now so that they don't get stigmatized.
Away from that story now, the Lagos State government has declared zero tolerance for sexual violence, domestic violence and child abuse. According to the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, 3,942 cases of domestic and sexual violence has been reported from January to August. On the average, 200 new cases have been reported monthly since May 2019. In view of this, the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, in partnership with the United Nations, organized a walk to create awareness on the advocacy against domestic and sexual violence. Our correspondent, Mercy, was there.
We're just rounding up our work for this very simple but very unique event. It's the second day in the 16th day that the United Nations have set aside for activities to mark violence against gender balance. And so Lagos State government, through the Ministry of Justice and other arms of the government, deemed it fit that we need to have this work to further confirm and to indicate our full government support of our advocacy around the stop of child abuse, the advocacy around rape against women and girls, the talk around domestic violence, sexual violence, and all other vices that are around abuse of children. Our government, by this work, confirms that we're totally against it. We stand against everything that speaks to this issue. And so we are using this advocacy to warn and to tell people to desist from it, to stay clear of it, because a full arm of law will be brought to bear on anybody or any institution or in any form that you found wanting.
To the commitment of the Lagos State government against all people who commit crimes against women, especially violence against women, rape against women, or any male or female, rape against male or female, and also abuse of children, and also marital abuse in terms of violence and what have you. So this work is to demonstrate the state's commitment and zero tolerance for all these acts of violence.
I think this is a very good move, especially when it concerns students. We are particular with students, you know. A lot of sexual harassment is ongoing almost everywhere. But the stand of Lagos State is that we must fight it. And this kind of campaign, we intend to take it to our schools in Lagos State. After this campaign today, we are going to have another one in our schools. So to make sure that these children are aware and that they should speak out, especially when you speak out, it will put an end to it. We will also let them know that this kind of campaign should be taken to homes. Let fathers, mothers be aware of what is going on, and children should please speak out.
See it and report it.
See it and report it.
End the silence.
End the silence.
And the news continue after this short break. Please to stay with us. We go to Namibia now, where President Hage Geingob took a commanding lead in the presidential election with roughly 2/3 of the votes counted following Wednesday's vote. Official data showed this on Friday. Geingob, Namibia's third leader since the sparsely populated and mostly arid country freed itself from the shackles of apartheid South Africa in 1990, was seeking a second and final term in the November 27th election. His SWAPO party is contending with an economy in recession for nearly 3 years, one of Namibia's worst droughts and its biggest corruption scandal, all of which conspired to make the vote unexpectedly tough for Geingob. He faced 9 challengers, including Panduleni Itula, a dentist-turned-politician who is SWAPO member but running as an independent candidate. Now, a South African court has found a police constable, Austin Reynolds, guilty of murder for killing a Nigerian, Ebuka Okoli. The president of the Nigerian Union of South Africa, Adetola Olubajo, in a statement on Friday, said the accused was found guilty in a 1-count charge of murder and 3 charges of robbery. Olubajo stated, and I quote, that NUSA welcomes the judgment of Judge Shyam Ganda on the brutal murder of Ebuka Emmanuel Okoli, who was shot dead by a police constable in Durban on January 19, 2018. Ebuka, who was a native of Anambra State, was reportedly shot at close range during an allegedly illegal raid by Reynolds and his colleague on the community where the deceased resided in Durban. Still, a South African court on Friday has rejected an appeal by former President Jacob Zuma that sought to prevent his prosecution on corruption charges over a $2 billion arms deal. The ruling paves the way for Zuma's long-awaited trial to start in February 2020. Zuma, in office from 2009 to 2018, had previously applied for a permanent stay of prosecution on 18 charges of fraud, racketeering, and money laundering relating to an arms deal with French defense firm Thales in the 1990s. And that will be it on the African Sense, and up next will be our foreign news. On the foreign sense now, British police on Friday shot dead a man wearing a fake suicide vest who stabbed 2 people to death in London and wounded 3 before being wrestled to the ground by bystanders in what the authorities called a terrorist attack. The attacker went on the rampage just before 2 p.m., targeting people at Fishmongers Hall near London Bridge in the heart of the city's financial district, the scene of a deadly attack by Islamist militants 2 years ago. The Times newspaper, citing unnamed government sources, reported that the man had previously been convicted of an Islamist terrorism-related offense and was released from prison about a year ago after agreeing to wear an electronic tag. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said sentences should be served. According to him, and I quote, "It's a mistake to allow serious and violent criminals to come out of prison early, and it is very important that we get out of that habit and that we enforce the appropriate sentences for dangerous criminals, especially for terrorists." End of quote.
It is with the heaviest of hearts that I have to inform you that, as well as the suspect who was shot dead by police, 2 of those injured in this attack in the London Bridge area have tragically lost their lives.
I would also like to thank members of the public who risked their own safety this afternoon. They are the best of us. Terrorism is cowardly and evil. We must and we will stand united and resolute in the face of terror.
Now, set on the foreign news. Up next is our business news. in business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has injected $323.5 million into the retail secondary market intervention sales for its last intervention for November. The CBN Director, Corporate Communications Department, Isaac Okorafor, made this known in a statement in Abuja. Okorafor said the bank also intervened with 17.9 million Chinese yuan in the spot and short-tenured forward segment of the interbank foreign markets. He explained that the dollar's intervention was for requests in the agricultural and raw material sectors, while the Chinese yuan was for renminbi-denominated letters of credit. He expressed satisfaction over the stability of the foreign exchange, which he attributed to the sustained intervention by the bank. The director gave the assurance that the bank remained committed to ensuring that all sectors of the forex market continue to enjoy access to foreign exchange, especially during the forthcoming Yuletide season. Still in business, the Board of Directors of the African Development Bank Group has approved $210 million financing package for the Nigeria Transmission Expansion Project. The bank, in a statement issued on Friday, said that the package sought to rehabilitate and upgrade the nation's power lines and improve distribution and supply. According to the African Development Bank, the project, which will run across Kano, Kaduna, Delta, Edo, Anambra, Imo, and Abia, will improve the capacity and reliability of the Nigerian transmission grid where it is most constrained. Tepe 1 is part of $1.6 billion transmission rehabilitation and expansion program, TREP. The statement quoted Ebrima Fall, the African Development Bank Senior Director for Nigeria, as saying that the project would reduce Nigeria's power deficit. And that's it on business. And still ahead of Plus TV Africa News is a roundup on entertainment and sports news. We will be back in a moment. Stay with us. In entertainment, Leonardo DiCaprio has been slammed by Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro for donating to officials at non-profit organizations accused of igniting the Amazon rainforest fires. Local police recently raided the headquarters of two charities in the state of Pará, where a number of volunteer firefighters were briefly taken into custody as part of an investigation into the origins of the ongoing blazes, which have raged since summer. The firefighters have denied allegations suggesting they purposefully set the fires as part of a scheme to boost funding. But controversial leader Bolsonaro has seized on the claims and insists celebrity conservationist DiCaprio, who pledged $5 million through his Earth Alliance Foundation to help fight the wildfires, is partly responsible for the environmental disaster. DiCaprio is yet to comment on Bolsonaro's remarks. And that will be it on entertainment at this hour. The very best in sports coming up right after this short break.
First point of accountability is asking questions.
Hello and welcome to Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. I am Udoka Njoko.
Hi everyone, welcome to Plus Training.
You cannot continue to recycle poverty while you're spending a lot of money on unproductive ventures.
The government has to feel the impact.
Honorable Commissioner, sir, welcome to the show.
For upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years. 10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
And in sports, the Football Federation in Chile has announced it is to cancel the rest of the season due to security concerns following weeks of anti-government protests. All matches were suspended when the violence began 6 weeks ago. And the 6 remaining fixtures have all been cancelled and no teams will be relegated or promoted. Universidad Católica, who were leading the championship by 13 points, have been declared the champions. And the opponents have agreed to abandon the rest of the season and give Universidad Católica a 14th league title. The World Rally Championship motor race Rally Chile has also been cancelled due to the unrest. And still in sports, newly appointed Premier League Chief Executive David Pemsel has resigned before starting the job he was appointed for back in October. And Pemsel, who was due to start in February, has stood down following newspaper allegations about his private life. And the Premier League said Richard Masters will stay as interim chief executive. And Pemsel was the third person to be offered the job following the departure of ex-chief executive Richard Scudamore, who left in November 2018. And Pemsel's appointment was unanimously approved at a special Premier League shareholders meeting in October. And that's it on Sport Updates on Plus TV Africa. I'm Udoka Njoko.
Many thanks, Udoka and Joko, with the sports news there. And that's also our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We will be back later with more stories making the headlines. Please do join us again. I am Amaka Okoye, and do have yourselves a great day.
Hello, it's the weekend and time for a roundup of your #1 entertainment news analysis show, Tea Time on Plus TV Africa. Medical doctor Kelechi Okoro spoke on practicing medicine in Nigeria and how it is not financially rewarding. Rapper CDQ says he's got 20 million people ready to die for him. T.I. speaks out about controversial comments about daughter's hymen and so much more. See for yourself.
Mixing health and entertainment. How did you come about that idea?
Okay, do you want the long story or the short story?
We're ready for anyone.
You're ready for me, right? Okay, I was a student. Of course, everybody was a student. And then I was just the backbencher and then the person who doesn't like the whole serious stuff. And I had lecturers who were really serious. And then it was hard to grasp what they were saying. But there were lecturers who were very funny. And then they were happy-go-lucky. And, you know, and it was just easier to understand. For example, when you go to a clinic and then you see a doctor like me, what happens? What happens? I want you to answer.
I just want to remain sick. So you...
No, the reverse. Like, you know,
you get better.
Okay, so I just felt that it was easier, and you know, when I listened to lecturers who were less serious and had some humor to whatever they were doing. Okay, fast forward to when I left medical school, and then I'm just my goofy self most of the time, and I realized that patients or whoever I'm talking to, they just understand me better when I'm just me. and I'm just smiling, and I'm just making everything relatable and not so, in medicine they call it highfalutin. For example, you want to tell someone that they have shortage of blood and you're saying, Madam, you have anemia. Do you know what anemia means? No. So I just decided that, okay, I had to make it relatable, and then, and then I was thinking, coming to social media, and then what's the demography on social media? The Malians, the people who like Naira Marley, the people who like Zlatan, the people who like Wizkid, the hippie people, and then I'm not so young, but I know I'm still hippie, right? So I'm like, okay, how do I make medicine or healthcare, health education nice and then interesting for these people to want to hear? And I realized I had to be like them. Of course, I was like them offline, but most of the time you want to say something and you just bring that doctor in you, and then you start, being serious. I just decided, okay, I have to fuse some entertainment into it, and then I just started like that, making it relatable, making it interesting, going with trends, basically. Most of the things I talk about on social media are social health issues. For example, all of a sudden, they're talking about somebody who is smelling on the reality TV show, and then I'm keen into that trend to tell you how to, have proper hygiene, and then how girls can
smell bad.
Yes, all of that.
How acceptable would you say the brand was initially, considering your medical doctors? You know how uptight they can be, especially the ones that have been there for a long time. Did they take your craft seriously?
Okay, now, the people I was servicing, they took my craft, like they were excited, oh, this is new. And then there was this time, Nedu Azubia FM, he does this, in this Nkechi here again. That was the first time I went viral. And I did an impression of Nedu Azubia FM, but I taught people about safe sex, how to use protection, and if they don't use protection, they tend to get hepatitis, HIV, and the likes. But I did it like a already known comedian, and I went viral, and the message was there, but people were laughing, and then they were getting the message. So for my target audience, it was exciting. But for the other doctors, most of us, we are stereotypical. We just believe that everything should be done the conventional way. But I am a rebel. I am an outlier. When I want to do something and I think about the end result, I just go for it. Of course, there were some eyes like, okay, what is she doing? Why is she not trying to be serious, meeting the serious stuff? But eventually, people just caught on, and I have people actually trying to do the same thing that I'm doing, and they are actually doing it successfully. A lot of them now. So I have been able to, flourish in my niche. Of course, when I came on social media, there was nobody doing what I was doing, so it was hard. I remember I had to reach out to conventional influencers to, help me, get the visibility I wanted, and then everybody just caught on eventually. So I had other doctors. In fact, there's my lecturer in school. He called me up and he was like, I like what you're doing. And I remember vividly one time we were in class, and he said, because this is how I've always been in medical school. And he's like, what are you doing in medicine? You're supposed to be in entertainment. And I'm like, I'm going to do the two of them. Okay. And he said, oh, you actually did what you said you were going to do. And at the time I said it, I wasn't thinking, and I just said it. But here I am. Yeah, I had no clue. But, when you have to do something, a sister has to do what a sister has to do. Okay, so here we are.
There's another part to you about girl empowerment, youth empowerment. Tell us about that, and what is that in specific?
Okay, so I was getting a lot of buzz on social media, and then I had these critics who say, the people who need to hear these things are not on social media. All these people, they already know these things, they can Google these things, and they can get the information that they want. And of course, I knew that also. So I knew that I had to service another subsect of people. And I'm this person who likes the grassroots. I like to interact, with less privilege. I like to interact with people who do not have the advantage that I have to have access to social media. And then I was posted to Kogi in 2016. And then I had, the platform to actually reach out to girls in secondary schools, girls in the rural areas. And I'm like, okay, why don't I start something whilst I am doing the online advocacy? Then I should also go into the communities and do that. So I found I and two other doctors who are not currently in the country. Hopefully when they are in the country, then everybody gets to know them. But we founded that organization, and then we started to pay attention to her project, where we go to secondary schools and talk to girls about menstrual hygiene. We talk to them about female health, and then we go past that to actually empower them mentally, emotionally, and then we are still moving forward to trying to teach them how to be financially, independent. There's a whole lot, but we have to start really small. Okay, so we started with menstrual hygiene. And then we just go in.
For these young
further,
girls, would you say the gap is really in poverty, or what the older generation have got to pass down to them?
Okay, it's not just it's multifaceted, actually.
Okay.
The poverty is there, but we have a lot of rich people who do not even know these things. But first off, poverty is a problem. And then the society, for example, I talk about menstrual hygiene a lot. And then people are like, when I'm on my period, I say it, I'm on my period, I'm having menstrual pain, and people are like, shh, hush, don't talk about it. But this thing is real. A lot of girls, a lot of women, a lot of young girls like you and I, and even older women, they go through a lot of menstrual problems, and they dare not ask even their doctors because they feel like it's a societal thing. There's social restrictions, cultural restrictions. These things are not supposed to be talked about, but women are dying inside. Okay, so there's that gap where also, the norm over time, societal norms, we shouldn't talk about these things, and then these girls do not even know, they don't get that information. So that's also a problem.
It's time to talk about CDQ, Ewa's person. He said he's got 20 million people ready to die for him. This reaction is coming after hitting 2 million followers on Instagram. He tweeted, and I quote, "Everyone be sending me congratulation messages over 1 million followers on Instagram. But sorry, I'm not freaky about that. Let's fall out to the real world. And I've got over 20 million people out there ready to die for CDQ anytime, any day. Was #Maso.
Is it Naira Marley? Is it Naira Marley?
Are you ready to die for Naira Marley?
And
you Naira Marley.
Nobody's
ready to die for Naira Marley.
People went to protest when he was at the court. Well, I mean, people were bold enough to stand for him, but CDQ, we've not seen anything like that.
He had a show around this time last year in somewhere at Lekki, and Ife, co-anchor, went to cover it, and I know what he said when he came back. I think he even mentioned it on the show. Like, it wasn't. Yeah. He did not pull the crowd. So where did he get this 20
Online,
million?
offline.
How did the 20 million? Why didn't the 20 million people show up for your concert? Like,
they're probably busy. They have things to do.
Awesome.
Just playing the devil's advocate.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Benny.
I know you have a lot to say.
CDQ probably got too much of that stuff when he tweeted what he tweeted. Maybe he had too much of that thing that alters the mind.
What thing is that?
Whatever it is, he's on.
Whatever alters his mind.
Yeah, whatever alters his mind. Okay. So he probably would have had too much of it. At the end of the day, I'm asking myself, who are you? You're not a civil activist. You're not a community activist. You're not impacting people's life in any way. You're just one artist that's
Why are you going so far? Just
one
dissecting the entertainment industry.
You're just one artist who's not even rated A, and you sing some pretty dumb songs, and you should be grateful you have 1 million following on Instagram. I mean, you should be grateful. It's an achievement. It's a feat for you, CDQ. And don't get fooled.
2 million.
2 million followers. You should be grateful because at the end of the day, I want to know what your Twitter following is like. Instagram, anybody can. People, you don't need to do anything on Instagram. Just be pretty dumb on Instagram. You will get followers.
Or just post nice pictures.
That's it. So at the end of the day, coming out to not brag about it, to me, I just find it arrant nonsense. It's just being braggadocious.
But he's saying he doesn't care about the followers on Instagram.
Oh, yeah, right.
But why didn't he post it on Instagram and watch that followers reduce?
That's it.
Why did he have to go to Twitter to say it? I mean, that was what came to my mind. You're talking about the Instagram followers and people post it on Instagram and see what will happen.
I see how people I mean, Nigerians have no
choice. You don't care. I mean, you fall out to the street until you have over 20 million people. He's deluded. He's fooling himself. He should get away with himself and be grateful for the 2 million.
Or maybe he was not just serious about it.
Maybe he was joking.
It was just a tweet.
I want to think.
Because it can't be. Can he be serious? No, I don't think so.
I just think we just wasted like the last couple of minutes talking about irrelevant CDQ.
Wow. We're starting with one of the most controversial conversations right now as T.I. speaks out after his controversial comments about daughter's hymen. In early November, the 39-year-old rapper said on the Ladies Like Us podcast that he goes to the gynecologist with his 18-year-old daughter, Deja, in order to check her hymen. His comments sparked reactions from celebrities and non-celebrities alike. He was guest on Jada Pinkett's Red Table Talk to discuss. So it was a lengthy discussion, right? I think it was about 23 minutes, if I'm not wrong. And I hope we all had the chance to watch it.
Yeah, I saw the video. I saw the video this morning. And I was 101% with T.I. on everything.
He said on this video or initially?
On this, well, initially when I heard the story, I didn't get a full story. I didn't get a full gist. You know, but I just thought about parenting in the 21st century and what that entails, what that involves. There's a whole lot of vice. There's a whole lot of things that could actually ruin a child out there. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with a parent trying to ensure that their word is safe in all phase. You know, there's some things society has made it seem is the role of the woman alone to do with the girl child. And say if I decide to be involved in my daughter's upbringing, by the way, I have a daughter who's 2+. I change her diapers, I clean her up, I bathe her when I have a chance to do that. And so if I decide to be actively involved in my daughter's upbringing and check up on all that, nobody should have.
Okay, I don't think the conversation was saying you shouldn't be involved. Yes. No.
It was
the intention.
No, this is it. It was misconstrued that he was actually taking his daughter constantly or frequently for checkups to know if...
That's what he said. That was what he said.
That was not it.
No, that was what he said. That was what he came out to say he exaggerated. So he's not saying he did not say it.
Calm down. Yeah, he said it was embellished and exaggerated.
He embellished it.
And exaggerated.
Not somebody else, exactly.
So it came up as to say he was constantly taking his daughter to go check to be sure that the hymen wall is still intact. But during the interview, he debunked that to say, you know what, it was misconstrued. Like you rightly said, okay, it was embellished and exaggerated.
By him.
You know?
By him.
But it was just like a 1 of 10. Right? And he was not necessarily the one who even booked the doctor's appointment. And the wife, Tiny, was a big part of that appointment. You know,
not the wife, the mother of the girl
but Tiny was not there. Okay, the mother of the child. You know, and so for me, this is it. The whole hula-baloo about T.I. saying that. But let's even think about it for a moment. And so what if he decides to?
Well, so what he decides to? If you're coming from that angle, then even the UN has come out to say this is wrong and
Who's the UN? Are they not people?
Okay, so it affects...
I mean, the UN, they're people.
You have spoken,
let me
land.
Okay.
So he said, I mean, from what the conversation goes on to say, which as a woman or a girl or a lady, I understand it. So you decide to take me to check me. You don't know what you're doing is doing to my mental health or how it makes me feel.
She's underage.
So why it doesn't matter.
And
why
she feels bad about it.
Who?
The daughter.
Well, I've not heard anything about what the daughter said.
She said it and she has been liking all comments.
And of course, she blocked him.
She blocked him.
And they had a conversation on it.
Because
But we are going back to the old story. I think people have given their opinion on what T.I. said, which is why he came out to clear the air. And for him, the good thing he said for me, which is not even going by what you said now, is he agreeing that at the time he did not understand the sensitivity of this issue. But right now he does understand it. So if a T.I. can understand that there is a sensitivity attached to this conversation, then I don't think anybody needs to be defending what he said earlier. Because what he said earlier, he has also come out to say he himself embellished it. It is not right to be the way he said it was. And he came out to explain the circumstances around it, and conversation went on around that. So many people have touched on the fact that he has a double standard, a standard for the boy and a standard for the girl. But I'm going to touch on what Jada Pinkett said.
That's what it is.
Not necessarily. He explained it else in that video that if his boy should get a girl pregnant.
Nothing will change in the house.
How does that affect the household? And truly, how does that affect anything? Hold up. But if my daughter should come back home pregnant, I'm sorry, that changes the dynamic of every frigging thing.
I don't know how you're saying it, but that's not even right.
I don't think the word is double standard.
It is.
It's not. I don't think so.
It is.
I think he should also hold his sons accountable as much as he's holding his daughter accountable.
But that's what he's not doing.
You are saying double standard in another grammar.
It was amazing seeing the setting and everything because it was the first time seeing that kind of something happening here in Nigeria.
Well, we saw the whole decoration, the setup, right from ICT to construction category, to tailoring, barbing. It was just mind-blowing.
I couldn't believe that it's an event meant to celebrate skilled artisans. I thought it was a regular show that people come and dance, sing, get excited. But this is even more than that.
It was a moment to really show who I really was.
It was a battle with your mind, time, and your skills.
If the regionals were this big, I can't even imagine what the grand finale in Lagos would be like. In fact, I can't wait for Lagos.
Welcome back. You definitely enjoyed that conversation, but there is more. The long battle between Two-Face and Blackface has come to an end as both parties settles out of court. Amber Rose undergoes surgery 6 weeks after giving birth. Artist Rio was studio guest as he spoke about his latest music. Check this out.
Baba and Blackface have opted to settle out of court. Baba reportedly dropped his 50 million naira defamation lawsuit against Blackface. Sources said that Blackface agreed to not publicly call out Two-Face, while Two-Face agreed to work out an arrangement or an agreement that will enable Blackface earn royalties. So, okay, so for this story, I don't even know how I feel because it's weird if you... I know it's the sources that are talking now, right? We've not seen any court documents to back whatever claim the bloggers are making, but if it is anything to go by, why are you just agreeing to work out a royalty for Blackface? Does it mean he had a case all the while and you have been chopping his money? Let me put it that way so we can understand ourselves.
Milestone achievement in this case, given the fact that Blackface has always cried out foul. And so I'm sort of, I think I don't know, like I think the whole of Nigerians have closure on this case right now. I gotta say so. I'm happy at the end of the day that they could resolve their differences amicably outside of court. Again, I'm still bothered a little bit. I hope this is the end of this case. The idea of settling out of court simply make us feel or know that actually Blackface's cry was not totally foul.
Yeah.
So there are elements of truth that actually Two-Face probably took the song like he was claiming. Because there wouldn't be an out-of-court settlement if there was no case really. So Blackface all the while had a case. So the Nigerians should, for those who felt it was crying foul, my likes included, I want to apologize to Blackface.
Me too. Almost
I'm not apologizing yet until I see the court papers.
Yeah, that's another thing. You know, because for someone like Blackface, I don't think he's going to keep quiet.
If it's not true.
Two-Face probably decided, you know what, let me be the bigger man.
And then everybody wins at the end of the day.
You know, let me be the bigger man.
So it's possible he did not have a case, but Two-Face just decided to say, no,
let's
just have it.
Yeah, let me be a bigger man. Let's stop this. Let's be brothers and let's go our separate ways in peace. Two-Face is no longer a toddler, you know, and so for him, his peace of mind is everything to him right now. He's at the best of his career, and he's still Two-Face is somebody. If he drops a song today, everybody still vibe to it.
Okay, yeah.
So I want to think the out-of-court settlement was definitely initiated by Two-Face. And if it's something Blackface is not satisfied with, trust him, he talks. He's still going to come out to the public and say something. But I'm hoping we've heard the last of this case as it is.
For me, I don't think, with this, I don't think blackface never had the case. It's not about Two-Face being the big man. If you're talking about royalties, it's not like he's agreeing to just pay him some money. I mean, we're talking about royalties. That means he has done something that he deserves to earn money for.
Yeah, you're agreeing that his creative work was part of your music.
And if that's true, why did you ignore him all this while? I don't think that's fair enough. And I mean, everybody thought blackface was crazy. I salute his courage that he stood by his words and he followed his art till the last. I think I'm excited for them. They are two grown men, and I don't think we should be seeing their back and forth on social media the way it is. I hope, like you said, this will be the end of the case.
Well, I don't mind seeing their back and forth as long as they entertain me. That's what I'm on social media for, you know. But good luck to them.
Microbiology, music. Tell your story.
There's M and there's M.
Yeah.
That's the story.
You know, it's not always easy when you always have parents wanting you to read a professional course and do the 9 to 5. You get me? But that was not the road I wanted to take. I had a dream for my own self, but I had to fulfill their will I say quest for education by going to school first, and after that, I veered into music.
What has that journey taught you? Because regardless, you went through the 4 walls of the university. So what did you pick from that?
Yeah, it's a good process because education is always key because it helps you in anything you want to do in life. Even my music, it helps me write. It helps me, get to know better words and all. So it's a good process. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my education, but music is my thing.
Why is music your thing? Why did you decide to do music?
Let's say it's more of a passion. When you're passionate about something, it's better you do something you really love doing than just doing what everybody else wants you to do.
So did you end up going to a music school or something?
No, not really.
It's just natural?
Yes, a natural talent.
You produce beats?
Yeah, I co-produce. I'm actually learning how to produce now. Okay. I write songs and I make songs. Yes.
How long have you been on the music scene?
I've been on the music for a while because I finished my university education 2010.
Okay.
Then I went for my service. Then after that, I've been doing music. But
professionally?
Yeah.
Professionally?
Professionally, I've been in music for 2 years.
Okay.
Yes, how has the 2 years been?
Yeah, it's been okay, at least. I actually got serious 2018, actually.
Okay.
But I've been professional. I've been doing behind the scenes since 2017. 2018, was the year I dropped a lot. I started by dropping a single. Then 2019, I dropped like 5 singles this year already.
Oh, wow.
Yes, this is the full-fledged.
Now your music style seems to incorporate a whole lot of genre. Yeah. Is it that Rio doesn't want to be known for a particular sound, or is it an incorporation of different sounds?
I believe one of my watchwords as an artist is being versatile. Okay. So I believe in giving my audience different parts of me. You get, if I sound like this today, you should hear how I sound like this tomorrow. So I don't just want to have a particular style to go with. I just want to go with the beat and I vibe with it.
Okay, as an independent artist, how hard would you say it is for you?
It's not easy, but my breakthrough is that I have supportive parents. Okay. Although they didn't really support me at first, you understand, they had to take years of convincing and they had to go back and say, I mean, this music is not how, so I thank them for their support. You understand? So that's what got me far, and that's what got me here today.
Okay, so right now is music paying the bills?
Yes, it is.
As much as you want it to?
Yeah.
It's okay because, like, something must pay the bills. You get me? And for this, my case is music. You get me? That this is the road I want to take, so it has to pay my bills. One way or the other. I have a studio, I have my personal studio. People come to use it as well, so I get money from that. I get money from writing songs. There are a whole lot of ways to make money from music. Okay. Yeah, so it's paying the bills, definitely.
Okay. Now, when people get to listen to Rio sound, what do you want them to feel? What do you want people to take from your music?
My music, the kind of music I make, I will classify it as just generally good music.
Good music.
I make music to calm nerves. I make music that people can easily relate to and vibe with. You get me? As long as I don't just want to make music, I want to make music that has meaning. And music that's going
music with meaning.
Yes, that's going to touch lives of people in general.
People you look up to? Are there people you look up to in the industry in Nigeria, particularly?
Yes, you must look up to the greats to be one of them. So I look up to people like the Two-Faces. I look up to Fela is dead now, but it's the corona of the whole of Afrobeats. There's Fela, Whiskey, Davido. They are good. Also, there's a lot of young cats coming up that are also good too. And over the international scene, I like Drake.
Okay.
I like Lil Wayne. I like Damian Marley. Yes. And a whole lot of them. So.
Okay, so do you have any music with any Nigerian artist?
Yes, I have a feature with YC. I have with Tiwa, but I've not dropped them yet. They're gonna come sometime next year. This year I dropped Summer Body. I featured Chiki Cheesy and Wale Kwame. So that's the feature I have right now, Summer Body. So you guys check that out.
Any new project?
Yes. My birthday just passed. That's 25th of October, 2019. I dropped 2 singles actually on my birthday. One was Calamity and the other one is Dadia. So those are my new projects. You guys, they are available on all platforms. You can check that out. Real Sounds, Calamity, and Dadia.
Is there a reason for dropping so many singles at the same time?
Yes, because my fans need to get to hear me. And need to get to. I don't want to just come out today and drop one song. No, I need to put a body of work for my fans to keep listening. And the dropping of my songs is going to lead to my EP because I plan on dropping my EP sometime around April next year. So I'm working on that as well.
It's like you have everything planned out already.
Yes.
This is what you want to do next year, this month, and that month. How do you understand the business part of music?
The business part of music is not easy because, you know, it's first things first, it's very capital intensive. Secondly, it's a business that you put in money without, you're not sure of your returns. You understand? But nowadays we have online platforms like Instagram, Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. Yes, you understand, that get to pay artists and give artists pay money to artists. You can easily push your business online. Social media actually made it easy to get as an independent artist, to get your music across out there. And also it helps to boost the music business as well. You understand, getting people to know you. I get DMs from people every day. Hey, I would love to feature you on a song. You charge them a fee, they pay you. And that's it.
Well, I've got to go, but I'm very sure you were entertained. You can watch all episodes you've made on our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. Also catch the Tea Time crew live on Monday to Friday, 10:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. on Star Times channel 308 and 528 across Africa. Have yourselves a great weekend.
Thanks for joining us on News on the Hour Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines. I am Amaka Okoye. President Muhammadu Buhari on Friday in Malabo said leaders of neighboring countries would work together and provide all necessary assistance to secure the Gulf of Guinea. The president's spokesman, Malam Garba Shehu, said this in a statement that Buhari gave the assurance at a bilateral meeting with President Teodoro Obiang Nguema Sogo of Equatorial Guinea on the sideline of the 2019 gas summit. Buhari expressed concern over the rate of piracy, kidnapping and smuggling in the Gulf of Guinea and called for more concerted efforts to end the tide of illegality. Still, President Muhammadu Buhari will on Monday perform the groundbreaking ceremony of the University of Transportation, Daura, and commissioning the Kwanargwante Road, which is off Kano Daura Road in Katsina State. Malam Garba Shehu, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, confirmed this development in a statement in Abuja on Friday. He stated that the President had arrived in Daura, Katsina State after attending the 5th summit of the Gas Exporting Countries Forum in Malabo, Equatorial Guinea. According to him, President Buhari arrived at Umar Musa Yar'Adua International Airport at 4:20 p.m. local time and was received by Governor Aminu Masari. Still on national matters, the First Lady Hajia Aisha Buhari has alerted that things are getting out of hand in the country. noting that her husband alone cannot handle the challenges of the nation, and admonished the political class to work together to build the country out of the challenges. She spoke yesterday at the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs General Assembly and National Executive Council meeting at the National Mosque in Abuja with the theme Islam and National Development. Mrs. Buhari was quoted as saying, "We should either fasten our seatbelts and do the needful, or we will all regret it very soon, because at the rate things are going, things are getting completely out of hand. People cannot afford potable water in this country while we have governors. Since this is the highest decision-making body of the Islamic affairs, for those that are listening, we should fear God. And we should know that one day we will return to God and account for our deeds here on earth." End of quote. She also called for the regulation of social media, noting that China, with about 1.3 billion people, had done so, stressing that many people could not visit their villages on account of fake news broadcasts. In his opening remarks, the NSCIA President General and the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, said the nation must come together to address its challenges, insisting that the girl-child education and the Al-Majiri phenomenon must be addressed urgently. Now, Nigeria has succeeded in securing variation of the UK court order from cash payment of $200 million security to issuing bank guarantee of the same amount in respect of the P&ID scam. Abubakar Malami, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, made this known in a statement issued by Dr. Umar Gwandu, the Special Assistant on Media and Public Relations of the Office of the Minister in Abuja on Thursday. The minister said the federal government appealed against the payment of $200 million security component, which was a condition for stay of execution of the judgment. The court granted the federal government's request for variation of terms of the order seeking to provide bank guarantee in place of direct deposit. He said the success recorded so far in relation to the $200 million security deposit is that it remained in the federal government's custody while simply providing a document. Moving on, the Senate is calling for an immediate review of Nigeria's housing policy and mortgage financing such that Nigerians can have affordable housing nationwide. The motion, which was moved by Senator Albert Akpan, indicated the housing sector can also be used to provide available jobs for Nigerians because of its labor-intensive capability.
This Senate alarmed that the National Housing Policy projections of government by 2020 provides for a minimum of 17.5 million housing schemes in the country to cater for the projected population growth of 200 million Nigerians. This vision is practically unattainable. This Senate concerns that the national housing caters for only the housing needs of the working class contributors, whereas 80% of the active population of Nigeria remains unemployed. This Senate worried that the disposable loan limit through the funds was reviewed from 5 million to 10 million naira and 15 million 25 years ago, and has remained so till date, despite drastic economic changes over the years. And this Senate further worried that there exists little or no impact of the National Social Housing Development Program in the country over the years, and owing to the escalating population growth in our country, there is a dire and urgent need for a total review of our national housing policy framework to meet the needs of our people, especially the poorest Nigerians, in line with the various international conventions and treaties of which Nigeria is a signatory.
It's important for us to really review the policy of housing and also mortgage financing, not just because it provides to provide houses for people, but because the housing construction sector is a job creation industry. Because it is labor intensive, it provides a lot of jobs for the people.
If we look at Abuja, the houses in Abuja are more than the people living in Abuja. 3/4 of the houses are empty. Yet, the policy is still on.
And to health matters now, the Nigerian Senate is bothered about the inadequate commitment of the federal government to the funding for the prevention and treatment of persons living with HIV. The Senate, via a motion raised by Senator Chukwuka Utazi, said Nigeria's HIV prevalence rate has dropped in the last few years, despite a reduction of funding for the prevention and treatment of HIV from development partners. Senator Utazi said there is a need for the federal government to seize the initiative and support persons living with HIV while improving support for the National Agency for the Control of AIDS, NACA, to help prevent the spread of the ailment.
This Senate satisfied that NICE reports showed that HIV prevalence in the country dropped from 2.8% to 1.4% amongst adults aged 15 to 49 years, a feat which Nigeria is presently well applauded, and with a population of 1.9 million people living with HIV in Nigeria, over 1 million of the above figure are currently accessing treatment to achieve viral suppression. This Senate concerned that with the appreciable control of this epidemic and decreasing expectation of further shrinking, is the naked truth that the usual funding from foreign donors will equally shrink, leaving Nigeria to battle 37/37 in funding the management and care of people living with HIV, and therefore necessitates putting in place mechanisms to ensure that resources are available for continuity.
But I want to advise too that, at this time, when the news broke in those days, government found it very difficult because the drugs were very expensive. Now, a lot of these drugs have been subsidized. NACA that came on board in Nigeria, a lot of, international donors came, USAID, WHO, UNICEF, all of them made contributions to Nigeria. And the government at that time too was very serious because the disease was ravaging our populace. So I still believe that governments too must still, continually fund this so that we don't have a relapse of the disease, so that our people don't get infected. We have had different demographics, just like he said, in this country. The northern part of this country, the south, in fact, even states where we have found out that the prevalence rate has been very high. I think we don't want to mention those ones now so that they don't get stigmatized.
Away from that story now, the Lagos State government has declared zero tolerance for sexual violence, domestic violence and child abuse. According to the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, 3,942 cases of domestic and sexual violence has been reported from January to August. On the average, 200 new cases have been reported monthly since May 2019. In view of this, the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Response Team, in partnership with the United Nations, organized a walk to create awareness on the advocacy against domestic and sexual violence. Our correspondent, Mercy, was there.
We're just rounding up our work for this very simple but very unique event. It's the second day in the 16th day that the United Nations have set aside for activities to mark violence against gender balance. And so Lagos State government, through the Ministry of Justice and other arms of the government, deemed it fit that we need to have this work to further confirm and to indicate our full government support of our advocacy around the stop of child abuse, the advocacy around rape against women and girls, they talk around domestic violence, sexual violence, and all other vices that are around abuse of children. Our government, by this work, confirms that we're totally against it. We stand against everything that speaks to this issue. And so we are using this advocacy to warn and to tell people to desist from it, to stay clear of it, because a full arm of law will be brought to bear on anybody or any institution or in any form that you found wanting.
To the commitment of the Lagos State government against all people who commit crimes against women, especially violence against women, rape against women, or any male or female, rape against male or female, and also abuse of children, and also marital abuse in terms of violence and what have you. So this work is to demonstrate the state's commitment and zero tolerance for all these acts of violence.
I think this is a very good move, especially when it concerns students. We are particular with students, you know. A lot of sexual harassment is ongoing almost everywhere. But the stand of Lagos State is that we must fight it. And this kind of campaign, we intend to take it to our schools in Lagos State. After this campaign today, we are going to have another one in our schools. So to make sure that these children are aware and that they should speak out, especially when you speak out, it will put an end to it. We will also let them know that this kind of campaign should be taken to homes. Let fathers, mothers be aware of what is going on, and children should please speak out.
See it and report it.
See it and report it.
End the silence.
End the silence.
And the news continue after the short break. Please to stay with us. We go to Namibia now, where President Hage Geingob took a commanding lead in the presidential election with roughly 2/3 of the votes counted following Wednesday's vote. Official data showed this on Friday. Geingob, Namibia's third leader since the sparsely populated and mostly arid country freed itself from the shackles of apartheid South Africa in 1990, was seeking a second and final term in the November 27th election. His SWAPO party is contending with an economy in recession for nearly 3 years, one of Namibia's worst droughts and its biggest corruption scandal, all of which conspired to make the vote unexpectedly tough for Geingob. He faced 9 challengers, including Panduleni Itula, a dentist-turned-politician who is SWAPO member but running as an independent candidate. Now, a South African court has found a police constable, Austin Reynolds, guilty of murder for killing a Nigerian, Ebuka Okoli. The president of the Nigerian Union of South Africa, Adetola Olubajo, in a statement on Friday, said the accused was found guilty in a 1-count charge of murder and 3 charges of robbery. Olubajo stated, and I quote, that NUSA welcomes the judgment of Judge Shyam Ganda on the brutal murder of Ebuka Emmanuel Okoli, who was shot dead by a police constable in Durban on January 19th, 2018. Ebuka, who was a native of Anambra State, was reportedly shot at close range during an allegedly illegal raid by Reynolds and his colleague on the community where the deceased resided in Durban. Still, a South African court on Friday has rejected an appeal by former President Jacob Zuma that sought to prevent his prosecution on corruption charges over a $2 billion arms deal. The ruling paves the way for Zuma's long-awaited trial to start in February 2020. Zuma, in office from 29 to 2018, had previously applied for a permanent stay of prosecution on 18 charges of fraud, racketeering, and money laundering relating to an arms deal with French defense firm Thales in the 1990s. And that will be it on the African Sense, and up next will be our foreign news.
Welcome to Tea Time on Plus TV Africa, where we bring you the biggest entertainment stories and, of course, analyze them for you.
You can have both parents and still end up as a useless child. I see them every day.
Most times I worry more about where I'm coming from and where I am now, and that determines my next step.
Why are you sounding like
Alibaba
now?
And Plus TV Africa, we're feeling good. No time to dull, everybody feeling alright.
can still make music and people are still buy. That's why they look myself minimal IU.
Akpala music is for mature-minded people. I got DMs sometimes from Malawi, like,
Sleeping early.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Cross Trending. I am Booking November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
On the foreign scenes now, British police on Friday shot dead a man wearing a fake suicide vest who stabbed 2 people to death in London and wounded 3 before being wrestled to the ground by bystanders in what the authorities called a terrorist attack. The attacker went on the rampage just before 2 p.m., targeting people at Fishmongers Hall near London Bridge in the heart of the city's financial district, the scene of a deadly attack by Islamist militants 2 years ago. The Times newspaper, citing unnamed government sources, reported that the man had previously been convicted of an Islamist terrorism-related offense and was released from prison about a year ago after agreeing to wear an electronic tag. Prime Minister Boris Johnson said sentences should be served. According to him, and I quote, "It's a mistake to allow serious and violent criminals to come out of prison early, and it is very important that we get out of that habit and that we enforce the appropriate sentences for dangerous criminals, especially for terrorists." End of quote.
It is with the heaviest of hearts that I have to inform you that, as well as the suspect who was shot dead by police, 2 of those injured in this attack in the London Bridge area have tragically lost their lives.
I would also like to thank members of the public who risked their own safety this afternoon. They are the best of us. Terrorism is cowardly and evil. We must and we will stand united and resolute in the face of terror.
Now set on the foreign news. Up next is our business news. And in business, the Central Bank of Nigeria has injected $323.5 million into the retail secondary market intervention sales for its last intervention for November. The CBN Director, Corporate Communications Department, Isaac Okorafor, made this known in a statement in Abuja. Okorafor said the bank also intervened with 17.9 million Chinese yuan in the spot and short-tenured forward segment of the interbank foreign markets. He explained that the dollar's intervention was for requests in the agricultural and raw material sectors, while the Chinese yuan was for renminbi-denominated letters of credit. He expressed satisfaction over the stability of the foreign exchange, which he attributed to the sustained intervention by the bank. The director gave the assurance that the bank remained committed to ensuring that all sectors of the forex market continue to enjoy access to foreign exchange, especially during the forthcoming Yuletide season. Still on business, the Board of Directors of the African Development Bank Group has approved $210 million financing package for the Nigeria Transmission Expansion Project. The bank, in a statement issued on Friday, said that the package sought to rehabilitate and upgrade the nation's power lines and improve distribution and supply. According to the African Development Bank, the project, which will run across Kano, Kaduna, Delta, Edo, Anambra, Imo, and Abia, will improve the capacity and reliability of the Nigerian transmission grid where it is most constrained. Tepe 1 is part of $1.6 billion transmission rehabilitation and expansion program, TREP. The statement quoted Ebrima Fall, the African Development Bank Senior Director for Nigeria, as saying that the project would reduce Nigeria's power deficit. And that's it on business. And still ahead on Plus TV Africa News is a roundup on entertainment and sports news. We will be back in a moment. Stay with us.
I personally think a lot of Nigerians see themselves as entrepreneurs. There's so much we don't have. You see that there's a large market. So I think that drives people to want to start a business. We need to start looking at each individual Nigerian, an uncle, an aunt, a friend, your son, your boyfriend. When they come to you with incomplete stories, challenge it. When your son, who just finished graduating at school, comes home with a new Mercedes-Benz and you clap for him instead of questioning where he got it from, that is corruption. When your dad, all of a sudden, who works at the Ministry of XYZ or is just a second level at his private sector job, now is buying a house in London, question it. You can't solve corruption when it goes down like water going down a hill. It's not possible. People who have good stories to tell tend to stay very quiet, and I don't know why.
Premiering this Monday at 12:30 p.m. and repeat broadcast at 8:30 p.m. on Plus TV Africa.
Politics has helped shape the decision of the polity, from conspiracy theories to good old-fashioned comic politics.
These are the results of tomorrow's election. Okay, you have it already, have you?
I think we've done very well in the very difficult circumstances in which we took over governance.
Plus, politics will fill the polls of the country, from friends to frenemies, even strange bedfellows, to clones and stooges. We go beyond the rhetorics and the drama to analyze the story behind the story.
Let everybody come and say.
The perception in itself does more harm than actual corruption that you have.
Plus Politics, not just another political show. It's about putting you, the citizens, in the know.
In entertainment, Leonardo DiCaprio has been slammed by Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro for donating to officials at non-profit organizations accused of igniting the Amazon rainforest fires. Local police recently raided the headquarters of two charities in the state of Pará, where a number of volunteer firefighters were briefly taken into custody as part of an investigation into the origins of the ongoing blazes, which have raged since summer. The firefighters have denied allegations suggesting they purposefully set the fires as part of a scheme to boost funding. But controversial leader Bolsonaro has seized on the claims and insists celebrity conservationist DiCaprio, who pledged $5 million through his Earth Alliance Foundation to help fight the wildfires, is partly responsible for the environmental disaster. DiCaprio is yet to comment on Bolsonaro's remarks. And that will be it on entertainment at this hour. The very best in sports coming up right after this short break.
And in sports, the Football Federation in Chile has announced it is to cancel the rest of the season due to security concerns following weeks of anti-government protests. All matches were suspended when the violence began 6 weeks ago. And the 6 remaining fixtures have all been cancelled and no teams will be relegated or promoted. Universidad Católica, who were leading the championship by 13 points, have been declared the champions. And the opponents have agreed to abandon the rest of the season and give Universidad Católica a 14th league title. The World Rally Championship motor race Rally Chile has also been cancelled due to the unrest. And still in sports, newly appointed Premier League Chief Executive David Pemsel has resigned before starting the job he was appointed for back in October. Pemsel, who was due to start in February, has stood down following newspaper allegations about his private life. And the Premier League said Richard Masters will stay as interim chief executive. And Pemsel was the third person to be offered the job following the departure of ex-chief executive Richard Scudamore, who left in November 2018. And Pemsel's appointment was unanimously approved at a special Premier League shareholders meeting in October. And that's it on Sport Update on Plus TV Africa. I'm Udoka Njoko.
Many thanks, Udoka Njoko, with the sports news there. And that's also our news roundup of events at this hour. For more news updates, please follow us at Plus TV Africa on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa. We will be back later with more stories making the headlines. Please do join us again. I am Amaka Okoye, and do have yourselves a great day.
Sees it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
I actually moved back to Nigeria to open a bakery. This was my goal, and everything I did up till this point was in preparation for this. First of all, life was great because I moved in 2015 right before the recession, right? It was awesome. I was like, wow, there's so much money out here, man. The cost of overheads, power generation, water, you have to be your own local government. And there are no tax breaks. Many places where, where they realize the small business environment is difficult would offer some kind of tax breaks and incentives. We don't do that out here. We want you to come back. We want you to, to start businesses here, but we're not going to do anything to help you. All my experiences in the past have led me ultimately to where I am now.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Today on the show, where we feature individuals who have left their primary disciplines to venture into something completely different, we meet Deyemi Okonlawon, who wear many hats, from selling bread to cakes and ending up an actor. Trained originally as an engineer, worked in different companies for almost a decade before leaving for something he is passionate about. In fact, he calls it life.
Well, so here we are at Afrinoli. Afrinoli is a creative incubator. It's an incubator for creatives, creative hub. And I spend a lot of time here so that so I can think and relax and strategize. And there's some really interesting people here. There's Jane Maduegbuna. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. So I spend a lot of time here. Yeah. So the books that we try to read. Hi, my name is Deyemi Okolawo. I am an actor and entrepreneur. And today I'm going to be sharing with you, all the different hats that I wear. And I was in every play in primary school till I left in primary 6, I believe. Then I got into secondary school, joined the drama department, but secondary school was a bit different, so it kind of fizzled out. I was more interested in things that were a bit sporty and cool. University, it wasn't up until I think it was halfway through my university years that I came in contact with this young group of guys who it was actually a campus fellowship called Harvesters Company then. They're now Harvesters International Christian Center. And I joined the drama unit, drama and dance, and I had an amazing time doing that. Then upon graduating from school, I joined another church, Covenant Christian Center, and I was, I just gravitated towards drama. And there were 2 drama groups. There was the drama, music, and dance concerts called Extreme Reaction. There was a pure theater group called Snapshots, and I was a member of both. As a matter of fact, I was the head of the Extreme Reaction department, so to speak. So I've always, had this acting as a hobby. Yes, so acting was a hobby. It was a serious hobby. I took it really, really serious. But then I had my career going at the same time. So sometimes I'm at work, maybe 9 to 5, and then I'm done with work. I rush over to rehearsals, and I'm rehearsing sometimes till really late or really early in the morning, like 2 a.m. Go home, get some sleep, and go back to work the next day. There's a lot of shuttling around. Then I think sometime in 2010, random conversation, heard about an audition. I went to the audition and I got my first film role. As a matter of fact, while I was at the audition, there was another group of people in the audience who were looking to cast somebody in their short film, but they didn't have the money to put together an audition. So they came around and they were watching everybody doing the audition. And they called me up after the audition and invited me to take a role. And it was a lead role in a short film called A Grain of Wheat. The next year I did another 2 films. Then the New York Film Academy came into Nigeria with the Del York Academy, and I did the acting for film course. All this while I was still working a 9 to 5. I think it was sometime in August 2013 that I made up my mind, took the decision to go into acting full time. And I didn't really have to, because I wasn't raised to ask for permission to do what I wanted. So I never really felt the need to tell people what I was doing. I just let people see the results, and the results kind of speak for themselves. So I took a plunge, and the rest is history.
Thank you very much.
So as an undergrad, I would wake up very early in the morning, maybe 5:30, and I get the supplies. The bus comes through with bread and cake, and I go across the university, and I'm distributing to my small retailers, and then I go take a shower and go to school in the morning. So literally nobody knew what it was I was doing up until Valentine's Day. Everybody knew I was the guy to come to for Valentine's cakes. So on campus, you get there in the evenings or night, and I'll project these really beautiful cakes on the walls of the hostels. I could go to different halls on campus and I'll project the cakes and play some music, and people would just come flocking in, ordering cakes. And I had a great time, you see. And I just felt, hey, you know, if I love doing this so much, it's something that I could do, especially when the opportunity came to move, you know, right after school. I was still trying to do I hadn't done my NYSC when the opportunity came to take up the sales and marketing sales and promotions manager position at this company called Baker's World. And so I did that for about 2 years. In fact, I did my NYSC there. So I was constantly shuttling, you know, just to make it work. Then I left Baker's World to start my own company. I realized small businesses had issues with advertising. You know, I was in charge of sales and marketing, and I had gone, the same thing I did in University of Lagos, I did in about 6 other universities, Babcock, Bowen, Covenant. I went to different Yaba Tech, you know, Medilag, which is Luth, and I was doing the same thing now that I was, you know, the manager there, and it worked. I met someone who had heard about the work that I'd done at Quicklinks, and he was now heading what was to become Dealfish, an online classified. So apparently, Quicklinks was an offline print classifieds, and then they were doing this online classifieds, you know, called Dealfish. And they had heard about what I'd done, and they invited me to join the team. And again, I was about to leave my own business to do something else. Of course, the pay. Yes. So let me just add that every time I move around, when I say there's opportunity, it's also that the money there was interesting, and I would leave that. So I left Sales Target, and I joined Dealfish. Dealfish, a few years down the line, was bought over by OLX. And I was the head of marketing for OLX up until August, I think, July, August of 2013, when I resigned to act full-time.
You, am I supposed to believe that?
Sir, are you dying? So why acting?
Acting for me is life. When I was working my 9 to 5, I would do these stage productions or these film productions. And I found that every time after those productions, I had a lot of energy. So it felt like I used to get energy, creative energy from acting. And this was the energy that I was taking into the workplace. And you would see that there was a correlation between, you know, how much work I was getting done, or the quality of the work that I was doing, you know, vis-a-vis, you know, whether or not I had just come off, you know, some acting gig. And so when it got to a point where I had to make a decision between, you know, a full-time career and life as an actor, it just made perfect sense. Because I said to myself, wait a minute, I get life or energy out of acting, and I'm going to pour it back into acting. It just looked like a cycle of life. And I said, that's why I say acting is life. And it made perfect sense for me to make that transition, and that did it for me. And it's been the most interesting, probably the best decision of my entire life. One of the best decisions of my life. And it's been an amazing 5 years.
Do you miss engineering?
No, because it's here. I think like an engineer. Like my approach to character development is very, very similar to process design. You know, sales and marketing, the way that I go about handling my career, what I learned, from networking, from branding. Sometimes I look at myself as a product, and trying to figure out how best do I position myself, in the minds of producers and the audience and the media, to make for a better brand. That's it. Me personally, I don't know that for the acting profession itself. So there's several things that I could point out, but as an actor, I have absolutely no challenges, with my work, that is, with what it is I do, getting into character and becoming somebody other than myself. The challenges would be other things, First of all, remember, I studied engineering, and then I had this background in sales and marketing. So there's several people inside me, and I just can't be an actor, which is why I always introduce myself as an actor and entrepreneur, because I'm constantly looking for opportunities to add value wherever I am. So that's one of the challenges, is the fact that I can't function only as an actor. Another thing is we belong to an industry. Right now, the Nigerian film industry is still growing. We're still very nascent, very young, compared to other film industries that we get compared to. So we're still young, and we're still going through our teething issues. There's not much in terms of structure. First within the acting field, and then the film industry as a whole. So it can be really tough sometimes, especially because if there's no structure, then there's no real recognition, so to speak. There are no policies protecting people, and our work, and different things like that. The government hasn't gotten to a point where they realize or recognize the contribution of the industry to the GDP or to the economy, or to the people generally, and they haven't taken laws to protect and taken measures to protect the industry, from people who probably sabotage it. So those are some of the challenges that one could face as an actor. Yes. I did say that I'm constantly seeking where to add value. Constantly seeking where to add value. I believe that we are on earth to fully explore all our talents and all our giftings. I don't think that one person should do one thing for their entire lives. So if I were being asked, yes, if I were to move from acting to a 9-to-5, I probably would. If I find something that really interests me. Would acting leave my life though? No, it wouldn't. Even if it's not full-time, it might just go back to being a hobby that I just enjoy doing, something I'm passionate about. So yes, as long as there's value to be added and value to be received in return, I'm all for it.
All unmarried women are liars and cheats, or just women in general?
Even married women.
Come on, dude, now, come on. Now that's taking it too far.
What?
Come on.
You think married women don't cheat and lie about it?
Well, I mean, it doesn't mean that there are not some married women who cheat and lie, but you're generalizing.
Hi guys, my name is Deyemi Okolawa. I'm an actor and I'm an entrepreneur. This is not your regular 9-to-5, but it's my life. And I love it.
The human voice consists of sound made using the vocal tracts, such as talking, as I am doing now, singing, laughing, crying, screaming, etc. So still on the show, we meet yet another incredible man, Seun Shobo, trained botanist who had to quit his job after discovering he could use his voice differently. Just how does he do it? Let's find out.
Hello everybody, my name is Seun Shobo. I'm the team lead at the Voiceover Academy, as well as the Voiceover Bank. We're passionate about training talents, voice talents, and developing voice talents, basically, from Africa to the world. We want to put African voice talents on the global map. That is our focus and our vision. At the Voiceover Bank, we also produce jingles, voiceovers for different brands, as well as get jobs for our alumni who finish from here, basically. So I studied botany in school, in Unilag. I also did a couple of courses and did, but I was never cut out for botany. I was never cut out for that. I'd always known I was a creative person, but I did sciences throughout secondary school to university. Because of peer pressure, then we always used to tell each other, I'm going to be a chemical engineer. Everybody wanted to be a chemical engineer at that point in time, and I felt like that wasn't for me. As at the time I got to my year 2, I did a course, a creativity course, and it was like my eyes just opened. So I knew I was going that line, but I didn't know I was coming to voiceover at the end of the day. So I started branding, and I did branding for over 8 to 10 years. Yes, I still do a bit of it now. However, this is what I do full time now, because I started doing voiceovers in university, while I was studying botany. So I'd always known that I was going to, but I worked a bit. I worked at a PR firm, CMC Connect, Perception Managers. I also worked with Mara Creative, where I used to book talents for I used to book models as well as voice talents. So we did a lot of jingles, a lot of popular jingles that you probably have sung before. I did a couple of things. I was a newspaper guy, for different, for Ministry of Justice. I used to deliver newspapers all over Lagos, and while I was in school, I was just a pure hustler, in school, because I just wanted to make it. I just wanted to break through. Before I started this, I was consulting for a company, and I was the brand manager there. A lot of things were happening in the company at that point in time, and I just knew my time was up there. And I told my boss then that I think my time is up. I have to leave. Now, I wasn't scared because, and this might sound like pride, but I was not just scared because I'd done this before. I worked for myself. I came back to paid employment, and then I said, you know what, this is not for me. I did it for about 2.5 years. And I told the boss, I said, I can't continue this way. I have to leave. Something is calling me, and that's the Voiceover Academy. And yes, I started Voiceover as a class. When we started it as a class, I was still doubting myself a bit. Why? Because there was nothing like that in Nigeria, in Africa.